Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer, and we're going to have a flag salute.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberation. This we ask in their name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for passing of the Honorable William Motley and Thomas Colicchio. Thank you. In event of emergency, the proper method of exiting the council chambers through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front door, and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the sheets provided in the front of the room. Please silence all your cell phones. If you must take a call, leave the chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Purcell.
Here.
Frazier.
Here.
Yamakaitis.
Here.
Sheehy. Sadowski.
Here.
Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Armstead.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Koziel. Colibus.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Colibus are excused. Cozio. I need a motion to approve the minutes for July 19th, 2011. Motion on the floor, please.
Mr. President, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 19, 2011. Request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Mr. Mayor, we have presentation.
You've got paperless.
I'm very pleased this evening to get a presentation from Freeholder Hudak and the Union County Board of Freeholders giving us some funds for our Halloween parade. As you're well aware, last year we did not have a parade. It was a hard decision that myself and the governing body had to make, but when we laid off people, it just didn't seem appropriate to spend money on a Halloween parade. Well, this year we decided to go with a Halloween parade, and we'll have a grassroots effort and not spend as much money as we've done in the past. And quite frankly, I think this Halloween parade is going to be one of the best we have because we've got a tremendous amount of support from the community with participation, and now we got a tremendous amount of support from our freeholders, and in particular, Freeholder Hudak, who pushed for us to receive monies from the county. And in that regard, Freeholder Hudak, I want to thank you very much. And this is a perfect example of why we need one of our own on the Freeholder Board. So with that said, I've been proud to receive the check that Freeholder Hudak is going to present to the City of Linden for our Halloween parade.
Mayor, I just want to say, you know, even as a young person in Linden, I attended this parade. It's a wonderful event. It's a tradition. It's an institution, not just in Linden, but in Union County. And its absence last year was not just noted by the residents of Linden, but many of the members of the board who had marched in previous years, you know, wondered why the parade hadn't happened. So when I told some of them that we would be doing the parade again this year, they said, well, let us know if there's anything we can do to help. And I said, while you're at it. But you know, the freeholders, you know, throughout the years have supported various different communities who have had parades of cultural significance, and I really think this is one. It's a unique event in Union County, and we're pleased to support and pleased to present this check. Please don't cash it. We have a real one for you, but it does look nice. So on behalf of the Freeholder Board, we're pleased to do this, and we wish the committee well on a successful event for this year.
Thank you, and thank you again for your strong effort and our support.
Thank you, everyone. Mrs. Cosby Hurling, we have a presentation for Deborah Marshall for breast cancer awareness.
Oh, wait, George. It gives me great pleasure, and I'm honored to make this resolution with the mayor here for Deborah Marshall for all of her work and her hard work for breast cancer awareness in the Yvonne McCalla Foundation. As we are giving this presentation, though, I would like to ask a Linden resident who is a 2-time breast cancer survivor, Anna Vegas, to please come forward and stand with us as a victory for all the hard work that everyone has done. For those of you who don't know, the Yvonne McCalla Foundation was the spearhead of this young lady here, and it is a commendable organization who recently moved to Union County in Elizabeth. The organization provides scholarships for young ladies who are looking to be nurses, and they also provide lots and lots of educational opportunities. So she's here in Union County to help us all, and it is my honor, and I'm so happy for all the work that you do, and continued success. And the mayor's going to read your resolution.
If you can just wait a moment, we're going to have the photographer come in and take a picture.
Okay, it's my honor to present this resolution acknowledging Deborah Marshall for her work with breast cancer awareness. Whereas every 69 seconds, somewhere in the world, a woman dies of breast cancer. Every 3 minutes, a woman in the United States is diagnosed with breast cancer, and every 13 minutes, a woman loses her battle with the disease. And whereas in 2010 in the United States, 207,090 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer and 39,840 will die. And whereas in 2010 in New Jersey, there will be 6,820 new diagnoses and 1,430 deaths from breast cancer. Whereas the good news is that breast cancer mortality has decreased by 2% each year for the past decade due to increased awareness, annual mammograms, earlier detection, and more effective treatments. And currently there are 2,500,000 breast cancer survivors in the United States alone, more survivors than for any other type of cancer. And whereas each year the month of October is observed nationwide as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, whereas the month of October in each year is designated as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the state of New Jersey, whereas Yvonne McCalla had dedicated her life to public health, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and who lost her own courageous 1.5-year battle with breast cancer on August 12, 2006. And whereas Deborah Marshall created the Yvonne McCalla Foundation to honor her mother's legacy by promoting awareness and encouraging and educating minority women about the importance of participating in breast cancer research studies and to address the socioeconomic and biological factors that contribute to higher breast cancer mortality rates for minority women. And whereas the Yvonne McCalla Foundation has made many contributions to spreading breast cancer awareness throughout its outreach, education, and scholarship programs, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Linden that they recognize the efforts of Yvonne McCalla Foundation and its founder, Deborah Marshall, in defeating breast cancer and promoting breast cancer awareness in the minority community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the City Council of the City of Linden, and a copy be appropriately presented to Deborah Marshall. Approved October 19, 2011, signed by Council President James Moore and Mayor Richard Gerbunka. Deborah, it's my honor to present you with this resolution by the governing body and myself.
Wow, thank you so much. This is such an honor. As Councilwoman and the Mayor stated, my mom passed away from breast cancer, and I saw the importance of educating the minority community on the effects of breast cancer. The organization, since we started in 2007, has educated more than 3,000 women about the effects of breast cancer, and if we save one life, then the work that we're doing is well worth the fight. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Anna Vega, and I'm a cancer survivor 2 times. I just want to tell all the ladies that are going through cancer to be strong and believe in God. You can make it. I did it twice. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you, everyone. This is the date and time established for public hearing on ordinances on hearing. Mr. Clerk, ordinance 5545.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance number 54-06 entitled, "An Ordinance of the City of Linden Authorizing the Acquisition of Certain Lands in the City of Linden Relative to Road Improvements in the Area of the Former General Motors Property," passed February 16, 2010, and approved February 17, 2010.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has any written communication been received?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the hearing be closed and ordinance 5545 be adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Clerk, 5546.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street as follows. Add 411 Academy Terrace, 1 space. 141 West Gibbon Street, 1 space. 3062 Southwood Avenue for the house located at 32 Tremley Point Road, 1 space. Delete 48 West 12th Street, 1 space. 429 Brooks Street, 1 space. 3105 Feeder Avenue, 1 space. 405 Knopf Street, 1 space. 815 McCandless Street, 1 space. 923 Middlesex Street, 1 space. 1132 Middlesex Street, 1 space. 339 Miltonia Street, 1 space. 1026 Mopsic Avenue, 1 space. 656 Morningside Avenue, 1 space. 202 West Morris Avenue, 1 space.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask the hearing be closed and ordinance 55-46 be adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5550.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, shall be amended as follows. Chapter 2, Administration, Article 1, General, Section 2-7, Administrative Organization. Delete Section 2-7.2 in its entirety. Add new Section 2-7.2, Committees of the City of Linden.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Ms. Hero? Ms. Hero? Thank you.
You're welcome. My name is Pat Hero. I live at 1009 Wheat Chief Road. First of all, I'm not sure I really see the need for this ordinance. Yes, it has been revised to take away some of the objectionable things that were in it, but it still is objectionable. One, why do we have to separate the Personnel and Finance Committee? It's been doing a fine job for many years. If it's not broke, if it's not broke, don't fix it. However, if you are going to insist on this, why not put negotiations and labor relations along with personnel? That would make more sense than just having personnel and negotiations and labor relations as a separate committee. Also, with regard to technology, it doesn't seem to me that there's a need for there to be a standing committee. If we do need, and I do believe there is a need in the city, to explore our technology as far as its up-to-dateness and relevantness in this modern age, couldn't we get maybe the state come in and do an audit, or maybe the county might come in and do an audit at, free of charge for us? I don't think that there's a need for a technology standing committee, or it could be an ad hoc committee. But personally, I'd like to see if we can get the county to come in and look at it. We spend so much money to the county for tax dollars, we might as well get something back. So those are my considerations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Motion, please.
I make a motion to move 5550 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
No.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
No.
Brown.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
No. The consent agenda list. Any items listed with asterisk are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussions on these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in the normal sequence of the agenda. Does anybody wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Councilwoman Cosby?
No, that's...
Mr. Colibus?
Thank you, Council President. I ask that consent agenda items 1 through 5 be passed and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. We're going to have committee reports. Mr. Purcell?
Okay, let me get my stuff together here. Okay, thank you. From the 10th Ward, everybody will be happy with this for Alcala Park. Last year, we received $200,000 match grant from the Union County Open Space Trust Fund for the reimbursement of the soccer fields at refurbishment, of the soccer fields at Alcala Park. I've been working with our grant writer, Greener by Design, to expand those efforts. I've been advised by Dan Sullivan, who's the chairman of the trust fund, that Union County will award the city another $125,000 towards the project, and the grant writer has identified several other grants we can leverage those county dollars to move this project forward. This is great for the kids who, I think Mr. Alvarez said, how many soccer kids are down? So we have 800 kids that will be using that field. Hopefully we get the whole thing redesigned and parking. So that'll be a plus right there, and keep the kids safe, on that roadway. As a member of the redevelopment committee, I've been in discussions with representatives of Waste Management, which owns a transfer station at Tremley. They're planning to send a proposal to the city to reopen the station, which in turn will lead to host benefits. That would be a plus for the taxpayers and more ratables brought into the city. One letter here I'll read from Joanne Fruciano. It says, Councilman Purcell, thank you for returning my phone call on Saturday, October 16th. I do appreciate you making the time to discuss with me the possibility of offering an autism awareness training program to Linden's law enforcement, emergency medical service, fire, rescue personnel, and other first responders. This type of program and training has been implemented in some of our neighboring towns, such as Cranford, and I feel this would be very beneficial to Linden's professionals as well. More importantly, this would be beneficial to the individuals with autism as well as their families, knowing that those responding in emergency situations are aware of their needs. The programs are designed to bring awareness of autism to our professional community. In addition, it provides the knowledge of how individuals with autism may react in certain situations, thus allowing these professionals and first responders to have the tools and understanding required, ensuring the safety of the individual with autism as well as themselves in otherwise uncertain situations. Though I do not have a specific number of individuals diagnosed with autism in the city of Linden, I do know that within Linden School District, there are currently 70 students classified with autism, and a total of 1,175 students classified with other various diagnoses. I would like to request that all of our first responders be trained in autism awareness, along with creating a database within the 911 call center to red flag individuals that are on autism. Thank you in advance for your assistance in getting this implemented within our city. I don't know if do we have anything in place for this type? Anyone, fire? Deputy Chief Callahan? Do we have anything in place for responding? For autism, yeah. Nothing? Okay. I have this here for you if you want to speak to the person. Oh, you have a copy? Okay, Jen has a copy. Okay, second would be, I'll go through all the good stuff first. I know in the 10th Ward we have a lot of problems with the through streets from Stiles to DeWitt to Wood Avenue, Morristown, Livingston, Elmwood, Fernwood, with cars speeding through, making a shortcut from Stiles to Wood Avenue. There's a place in Savannah, Georgia that's a model, and now they call it traffic calming. They get together with the people in the neighborhood, the police, even DPW, the schools, and they look at how they're going to slow down traffic in these areas. And now down there they call it traffic calming. It's a model program that's in place right now. And what is traffic calming? It's the Institute of Transportation Engineers, ITE, the international association that represents traffic engineers, Transportation planners and similar professionals who plan and design roads and neighborhoods has defined traffic calming as changes in the street alignment, installation of barriers, and other physical measures to reduce traffic speeds and cut through volume. That means they'll look at the street, you get the engineer to look at the street, speed limit, you come in and you put portable rubberized speed humps in. You put them in certain areas. That would limit the car to that certain speed, say 25 miles an hour. So it's safer for the kids. I see playing on several streets down there. The traffic's slow. And it'll free up the police because everybody's calling up and saying, you know, I need radar done on this street, I need radar. It'll free the police to do other duties. So I like to see if, you know, the chief and whoever could look into this. I think it'll be worthwhile throughout the city because I know several other council members up here have problems, and this does work. They have the permanent ones in Westfield, speed humps there, it does reduce the speeds. But these here, you can put them out, they're quiet, and in the winter, you could just remove them and put them down DPW yard, and next you put them back down, you just anchor them back down, and you're set. So it will save lives and cut down on the speed. Another thing is the information going around about leaves in the 10th Ward. I want to explain the pilot program. It's not mandatory. You know, people want to advance and, you know, put stuff out there that's not true. And if there's things out there, you come to me. I tell you the truth. So, and after the Hurricane Irene, having several 50-year storms in a short period of time, I think it was wise for the city to keep an option on the table when it becomes to preventing overtaxing our sewers. Again, it is a voluntary program. But for those seniors and disabled neighbors that would like to participate but are unable, Boy Scout Troop 360 has volunteered to assist the 10th Ward senior and disabled residents to bag their leaves. This program will be on either a Saturday or Sunday. You could call me up, name, address, phone number. The Boy Scouts and other volunteers will come out to your house, but the leaves have to be at the curb. And you know the Boy Scouts, environment, they want to see our environment stay the way it is. They don't want to destroy what we have. And our sewers are being overtaxed too. I have several pictures up here. With the sewers, they're full of leaves. What happens with the leaves? They break down. There's one house on Beechwood. She's always flooding. She puts sandbags against the garage door. Her sewer, we look, goes from that area across Stiles, down Stockton Road into the river. What happens? All those leaves come in, build up a wall down there where the pipe goes into the Raritan River, builds up, and what happens? The water backs up and floods all the houses around there. Numerous sewers. I don't know if right now, if we're in violation of New Jersey stormwater regulations. I don't know if we are in violation of U.S. stormwater regulations. So I think they should look into that. I know when I was reading, I don't know, you know, I just looked at a little parts of it, is that you should have your streets swept minimum once a month. You should have all your sewers, if you're a tier A or tier B. Tier A, you have to have your sewers cleaned every year, once a year. So I don't know if we go through that. I don't know if Mr. Venditto, okay. Okay. Stiles, you read other residents received information about, let me see. Unsafe parking on Stiles, is it a good idea? I went against Traffic Bureau. Heavy flow, excessive speed issues, the width of the road, the curved nature of the road, large tractor trailers, right? I'll read you what I had here in 2009 when I proposed it, because a couple of residents wanted to park their cars out there, maybe to wash them, you know, keep a car in the driveway so they can wash it, or when they have company. What you're seeing out there, people are crying wolf. What do you have, 3 or 4 cars there? You know, it's not going to be an obstruction. I'll read what I did in January 20th, 2009. When I spoke with residents along Stiles back in October, there was a concern with vehicles speeding on a roadway. The main area of concern was the traffic flow north and southbound from Raritan Road to Valley Road area. I contacted Angelo Pepperelli of the Union County Traffic Bureau. Angelo, expert, you know. All municipalities go to him for his suggestions and all his knowledge on the DOT rules and NHTSA rules, National Traffic Safety Organization, okay? A counter was placed out then, November 11th to the 15th, 2008. The speed limit along the stretch of the roadway is posted at 40 miles an hour. And I brought this to the attention to council, 40 miles an hour. That road is the only one except for Martine in Union County on a county road that's 40 miles an hour. Other ones are 35 except for Kenilworth Boulevard, that's 25 because of the width of the road and the residents. So, the study showed that that time, the 95 percentile speed was 39 miles per hour with a total of 50,000 vehicles, 39 miles an hour. The northbound side, 95 percentile, 38 miles per hour with a total of 58,000 vehicles. This reflects that most vehicles do adhere to the speed limit on the roadway. There's some, for instance, that do 51 to 55 per hour, but out of, say, 7,000 vehicles counted in one direction, 20 vehicles hit that speed. You see that on a 25-mile-an-hour road. The people say they hit that speed going down Fernwood, Livingston, Morristown. Another resident asked why they couldn't park his vehicle on the street in front of his residence. This was mentioned to Mr. Pepperella, who said there was no reason why they can't park in front of their resident. If the city is unable to post the signs, the county would. In what I read to you from a flyer that's out there, the width of the road. The width of the road is 40 feet. I'll give you a little history. I'll give you a little traffic stuff. I've been doing this for years, so if you can look at this. I worked late today, so it's a crappy diagram, but I'll show you. Here's Stiles, right? Raritan Road's here. Valley Road's this way, right? So you have Livingston, you have Morristown, you have Birchwood, correct? Your roadway's 40 feet from curb to curb, right? From curb, we're looking to put in an edge line. You ever see an edge line on the parkway to shoulder? That's an edge line, right? That would go along here. The edge line's gonna go out 8 feet, so you have another 12 feet from the edge line to the center line. That gives you 144 inches, right? Regulations are 102, so it's giving you more than enough. People are saying I won't be able to pull out of the side street. Right now, with the edge line going out, you have 8 feet for viewing, correct? 8 feet. You can have 8 feet from curb to your edge line. Around the curve over here, there'll be no parking because you're line of sight. You won't be able to see. The houses over here wanted to park, right? Everybody's complaining about the volume of traffic. What do they say, 50,000 cars, right? Where'd they go from Valley Road to Raritan? Did they disappear? They don't disappear. They're going down Stiles towards the highway, correct? When you're going down towards the highway, what do you have? You have parking on the right-hand side. You have parking on the left-hand side. No, I'm just looking at everybody here. You have parking on the right-hand side, the left-hand side. The road is still 40 feet. It's the same thing. Everybody's crying wolf for a couple of cars. When you, let me see, lost track. When you get down that way, one thing that's going to be safer here is you're having the edge line. When you're going down the parkway, you're going down any road, you have the white edge line, you have the center line. Who drives off that line? Nobody, right? Because mentally, you stay in between the lines. You go down the parkway, do you drive on the shoulder? No, because you're on the shoulder, you're on that edge line, and you're on the hash lines. And that's what's going to happen here. You're going to keep these people in from wandering around the road like this with your car, and you can see when you're going down Stiles, they don't stay to the left because you got the whole wide road. Now, you're going to keep them in your lane. They're going to go straight. You're going to have 8 feet for viewing to pull out. So I don't know why people are so hyped and saying it's so dangerous when, you know, they say it's experts. I have my experts. The people those experts go to ask questions and get advice from. And I go to them too. Because I wouldn't do something like this unless it was safe. Any questions? I'll give you a little traffic study. Come on. Nothing? Nobody? Okay.
Mr. Pichelle, I know, I live on Morristown Road, and the way the road is curved there, you really have to pull out quite far into the intersection to get it clear.
Did you hear how I explained it? You'll have more viewing. You'll have more line of sight because your edge line. Your
There's
edge
no cars-
line gives you enough room. It's keeping the traffic center yellow, edge line, 12 feet. You have 8 feet over here. You could even make it more. You could just do your edge line 7 feet. You could still park a car there.
Council President, can I ask a question?
Mr. Mayor. Yes.
Our Traffic Bureau, Sergeant Bobolski's here. We asked him, and I asked him, to look into the feasibility of parking on Style Street, since it's never been done before. And Sergeant Popolski, would you please come up to the microphone and tell the residents what you observed and your recommendation regarding parking on North Style Street? The microphone up front. And secondly, Council President, after we're finished with that issue, I'd like to correct a false statement made by Councilman Pichelle concerning the bagging of leaves as voluntary. That is completely false, and I have documentation signed by him to prove that.
Sergeant, would you,
Yes, we were asked, I believe in 2009.
Speak into the microphone, please.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? We were asked in 2009 to conduct a study about parking on North Style Street. We did. We put the vehicle, the message boards out, which determined volume, speed. We contacted the state police, who we seek advice from. We had serious concerns with not only the speed, but parking and sight lines, as stated. It's been brought up on South Style Street that parking is okay there. There's plenty of room by Munsell, Morris, Stimpson, through that area, and there's no problems. Our concern is that it's a drastically different road on North Style Street, just because of the curves and bends in the roadway. There's a lot more intersections than there is on South Style Street. There's an intersection every block, from Elmwood through Raritan, I believe, all the way through every block. There's an intersection coming out, people trying to make left turns, and the sight lines already are poor. So what happened was we conducted a study that said no, we advise against it. We don't think it's a wise choice. And a short time later, I heard that an ordinance was passed through here. I don't know when it was passed, but I was notified that it was passed because our office began getting flooded from calls that would say, what are these lines on the ground? What's going on? So we found out that the county was coming out to paint edge lines out there. So I contacted the county and I said, listen, I have no problem with the edge lines. We think they're great, they're good. They're going to keep the people in the lanes of traffic instead of wandering around like the councilman said. However, the edge lines, I'm concerned, were a little too far off the curb, and they were going to lead to parking in that area. And we didn't want to give people the impression that, hey, these lines are here, so it's okay for you to park behind them. So I did speak to the engineering office, Paparella, who stated that nothing would be painted until this matter was worked out. The ordinance did pass here, and it has not yet passed the county. They need an accompanying ordinance for the county before the county will make any changes, since it is a county road. I put a second letter because our office was getting flooded every day with calls that people said they can't get out already, they can't make lefts, they go all the way around the block, they go up to DeWitt, they take the traffic lights because they can't make lefts out of there, especially during busy time. During the day, they said it's not that bad, but during rush hour, it's almost impossible to make lefts out of any of those intersections. So what I did was I sent a couple guys from my office out there. I had them park vehicles along Style Street, along some of the areas we're concerned about. They're in the bends, near the corners, sightline issues. So they parked some trucks there. We took some pictures as they were getting out, opening the doors of the vehicles, which adds another 3 feet to the car. And with tractor trails going around them, the tractor trails were going 3 and 4 feet over the double yellow lines in the middle. So that really concerned us, that this is not going to be a safe issue. So I included another report to the mayor and my chief, along with the pictures that showed what we believe should be done there, and that's the work we did. After that, it's up to the council.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Council President.
Sarge, I'm not done with my report yet, and I'd like to ask the sergeant a question. When you did those pictures and you were out there,
Correct.
you were in between Birchwood and Livingston, on the curve, when I looked at those pictures, correct?
I believe so.
You were in marked vehicle, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, it was raining out, correct?
I don't remember if it was raining.
Well, the
or not.
pictures showed it was raining out.
It could have been.
And your officer was in the street taking pictures on the opposite side, the way I saw the direction, correct? The law is out there, if there's a police vehicle off to the side of the road, you make way. And make way means you will cross that yellow line if there's no traffic coming the opposite direction, correct?
Correct.
That's why your vehicles were crossing that yellow line to make way for your vehicles that were in the curve that was not going to be any parking, according to Angelo Paparelli, correct?
That could have been.
That's
could
it.
have been.
When I saw the pictures. Then when I saw the pictures with the mayor, if he was so concerned, I brought it up months ago, is why don't you change that speed limit to 35? Mike DiMartino said, why don't they change it to 35 like the other county roads? But I don't see nobody making that. If everybody's so concerned about safety, lower the speed limit to 35. We could just do it here and the county will okay it. Why aren't we doing it? And we're worried about 3 or 4 cars between that one little section, plus you have the, from corner, what is it, 25 feet? You can't park from a corner?
Yes.
Okay, 25 feet. Where I'm talking about those people are gonna park, they can only fit 3 cars there. Plus, you're gonna have 7 feet of viewing when you pull out. So it's gonna help the people, correct? Right now, you cannot pull out into the street because the cars are using the whole road, correct?
No, you're pulling out all the way into the street.
No,
because
when the cars are
coming around
going,
the bend.
when the cars are going down Stiles.
Yes.
Like here, you're going down Stiles. Here's the center line, here's the one lane.
Right.
You go down there, I walk there all the time. Here's the cars, they're using the whole 20 feet.
Right.
Now, if you limit them to 12 feet, 13 feet, they're staying in lane, it gives the opportunity for these cars to pull out safely, to view in both directions and pull out into
They
traffic.
pull out safely to view the traffic coming if there's no vehicle parked there. Once a vehicle is parked there, the sight line is killed even further because now that.
Yeah, but on that section, it's still good line of sight, because they pulled out over
Which
there.
section? When you pull out of
Be-
Livingston, Morristown Road, you have
Livingston and
most-
Morristown, the line of sight there is a clear line of sight.
No, it is not.
Well, what I
There's
saw
no way
it
when you
was.
pull out of Livingston Road, then you look to the left, it's clear line, it's
We
coming
should
around
go
the
out
bend.
there and take a look, because I parked my vehicle out there, and I stood there, and I had no problem. Cars pulled out of the side street. We could stay there in a, either personal vehicle, unmarked vehicle, and park there, you know.
I would be more than happy to do that if
Okay.
you'd like, but I do disagree. I could pull out there with no car parked there now, and it's a dangerous situation, is what I believe.
And I asked about, you know, doing a traffic study down the other end of Stiles, where you have parking on both sides with tractor trailers.
Down at Morris and,
Well, no, down towards the highway,
Yeah.
where you have people walking across the street, same volume of traffic, people walking across the street, cars pulling out. Same thing here, tractor trailer, parked cars, people, cars, you know?
It's
This
a-
is many cars.
that's a completely different roadway. First of all, there's no cross streets on that side. You have Munsell, Morris, and that's it.
Yeah, you have a
Probably
couple of
almost
cross
a
streets,
mile.
but you still have
Right.
cars coming
And
out.
we have it every block
Yeah.
up on the other side of town, as well as
But
a straight
you
section
got
of roadway.
numerous cars there, I'm only thinking
But
a
then there's
couple of
also a
neighbors.
straight section of
a couple
roadway that you
things.
can see almost a half a mile.
But you're not gonna have parking by houses that don't have, are facing Stiles. You're going for 3 cars over there. And I think, you know what you should do? Start, is put the edging in, let them put the edging in, watch the flow of traffic, then determine, I could sit with you, or whoever, and I could sit with you, and we could determine if it's safe or not, just by viewing the traffic.
I
But the
repeat,
edging-
I agree with the edging 100%. I think
Yeah.
it's a great idea to keep them one. Once
And
we
it
put
keeps them in the
edging,
lane.
If there's enough room to fit a car behind the edging, they're gonna park behind the edging.
Yeah, in those one section, but the houses that aren't facing Stiles, you don't even have to have parking there because there's no reason, because they got the street. But to give those 3 or 4 houses the opportunity, where you can only have 3 cars there, I think we should put the edging in.
If you allow parking, there's more people than those houses are gonna park there. We thought this all over town, because the people from Winfield now are gonna come out their back door because it's closer because they can't get a spot on the other side. The people will find parking.
Then maybe we could do something just for, what do you think for the residents over there? Can we do something just for those residents facing the street to give them the opportunity?
The resident parking is, I am totally against it. We're putting this all over town. The streets are for everybody to park on.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should have a whole town here of all resident-only parking. Anybody currently is allowed to come and park anywhere they want in this town except near the train station. That's the only place we're limited. The other time we got involved in it was near the Lindcrest Apartments, and it's opened up a Pandora's box that we can't seem to solve. So I am against permit parking all over town unless
Okay.
the people are avoiding revenue, as which they are doing at train stations.
So if we leave that, how about we put the edging, then me and you go out there and we get Angelo and Mikey D out there, and we'll look at it.
I'm for it. And
Well,
just
we'll
like I
have the
explained to
expert-
Angelo, I'd like maybe a 5-foot edge line where a car's not going to fit inside of that edge.
Well, I wanted to see for these residents over there, but we could work it out and we could talk to them,
Absolutely.
you know?
I'd
Because
love
when I
to work
talked
a
to Mikey,
solution.
he says he can knock it down to 6.
I'm
And,
all for a
you
solution. I'm
could
just
still
telling
put
you
a
that
couple
more
of cars.
people will park there.
Well,
if
you're only
they- if
gonna
it's
have
allowed.
limited, if you're gonna have parking for 3 cars, that's all it's gonna park then, and everybody else is,
Right, but if
sorry.
you think there's one house or 2 houses on Stiles that
Yeah,
actually
those
face
ones
out,
where-
6 people from around the corner are going to park there
Yeah,
on streets.
and the other ones
when they
have
can't park.
longer driveways. So we
Right.
could do that, get the edging in, how about me and you sit down with Mikey D and
I-
Angelo, then we'll work it that way.
Council President, I got a suggestion. Why don't we just leave it with no parking, because it's creating a hazard? The residents are never going to get out of Livingston, Elmwood, Fernwood, Morristown, and make lefts or rights. Our traffic experts, they are our experts. He's in charge of the Traffic Bureau. The former police chief did not agree with it. Why does Councilman Purcell consistently insist that he knows better than our Traffic Bureau?
I talked to the experts from the county. I've been doing this for 29 years.
And he's
All right,
been
but-
doing it also.
Yeah, he's been doing it, but the county is trained in DOT, right, and NHTSA, okay? I wouldn't put this up unless it was safe, and they wouldn't put it up unless it was safe. You think they're gonna put something there that's gonna hurt someone?
I think
It's
it's,
gonna hazard
I
them?
think as a former councilman there for 12 years, it's unsafe to have parking on Stiles Street.
I think I did a lot more than a councilman for 12 years, so.
Okay?
And, you know, if you want to go.
You're showing your class, Councilman.
If you want to go there too, I can read this thing out. I'm there for representing everyone. It might be a minor how would you say? Problem to you, but it's a major thing for that person that asked me to do something. That's why I'm there. I don't care if it's for one person or 100 people. That's why I'm there, to help everyone in my ward. You might think it's a minor inconvenience or a minor problem. It's not for them, right? So I'd rather see, we look into it. You know, as councilman of the ward, I represent everybody. So I'd rather work things out instead of argue here. And if he wants to argue, I'll read an email when I did the Winfield Carnival and put something out, and I'll read the last line, because the other one is ridiculous, because I don't micromanage, all right? When I put Winfield Carnival had a problem, correct? The next day, I put something out to every resident that was in that area, because I was concerned, correct? And I put out, beware, keep your lights on, watch what's going on. I got castrated because I put it out and I didn't tell the top man that I was putting that out. My main concern are those people in that ward, their safety. And I talked to the chief about putting no parking signs on one side of the street because of the traffic flow and the pedestrian traffic coming up and down those streets. Somebody was gonna get hurt. So I went through the chief, and I'll read you the email. On Wednesday, July 27th, I sent you an email suggesting that we work together in effect in the 10th Ward due to the Winfield Carnival. This request was done so we could have a coordinated effort to resolve the problem this fair has created. I'll read the whole thing. I have just learned that you took it upon yourself to ask Chief Pavona for temporary no parking signs on various streets adjacent to the fair. That's traffic safety. You couldn't get you could barely get a car down the street plus pedestrians walking. So, as councilman, I called up the chief. You as a lieutenant at Union County Police Department would not appreciate police officers short-circuiting your command by making decisions with your sergeant without your knowledge. I don't micromanage. I let my sergeant do, he knows what I want and I know what he wants. He could do his job. I don't tell him how to do it because he knows how to do it, and he does it excellent. Be advised that, as that date, so residents of the 10th Ward, be advised that I have ordered Chief Pavona not to respond to your request for Linden Police Department assistance unless I forward these requests to him for his and my approval. So right now, I'm the only council person in Linden that has to go through the mayor. Everybody else could call the chief up, and ask requests. I don't micromanage. You don't micromanage. Policymaker, everyday operation. And that's the way it should go. If not, it's this. You butt heads, and you never get nothing accomplished. There's one thing I forgot to read, then I'll be done with my report and we could move on. Hopefully I didn't overwhelm you. This is about leaves. This is...
Take as
sorry,
much time as you need for the citizens.
Huh?
Take as much time as you need.
No. This was from one of the
Yes.
neighbors, and I didn't even know it. You know, he came down there and he handed me this letter. After living in Roselle, it might not mean a lot to you, but he wanted to do it. After living in Roselle for 32 years, I moved to Linden in March 2001. Since moving to Linden, I have not involved myself in any way in local politics, and I have not given any support to any candidate. I have not put up a lawn sign for anyone, including my neighbor, Rich Pichelle. When I received the notice that the 10th Ward is to be a pilot program for bagging leaves, I was surprised and happy. I told Rich of my total support for this method of leaf removal. While living in Roselle, I was the first ward councilman for 8 years before becoming the mayor for one 4-year term. During my time in Roselle, the municipal government implemented and began the bagging of leaves through the borough. Initially, the program met with great resistance before its implementation. Preconceived complaints were many. Shortly after the program began, the resistance disappeared and the apparent benefits became obvious. No longer did pile of leaves block parking spaces, cause flooding due to catch basins being clogged with leaves, cause residents to complain about late leaf pickups and DPW service disruptions during the leaf season. The efficiency of bagged leaf pickup as compared to front-end loading and leaf vacuuming allowed our DPW to have more time to complete their regular chores, and overtime costs were eliminated. So as the witness to a community-wide successful leaf pickup program, which is still working more than 10 years later, I want to encourage my fellow Linden citizens to fully support this worthwhile leaf cleanup advancement. You will not regret it. In closing, I want to thank my councilman, Rich Pichelle, for putting himself on the line by voting to begin leaf pickup in the middle of his bid for re-election. Thank you.
Council President, I'd like to address a false statement by Councilman Pichelle.
Which one?
Mayor.
It's in regards to the leaves.
Sure.
Go ahead.
You said that it's voluntary
It's a
to
pilot
bag,
program.
excuse me, you said it was voluntary to bag leaves. We've always had voluntary bagging of leaves or raking in the street. I was at 3 caucus meetings where you insisted every month at the caucus meeting for 3 meetings that the 10th Ward residents will have to mandatorily bag leaves. I was there, this governing body was there, and I am going to read a short excerpt from a newsletter which you sent to 10th Ward residents, signed by yourself, and it specifically says, all residents will be required to bag all leaves and place the bags at the curb for collection. You insisted, you were told by myself, you were told by the Public Works Superintendent that that was not an efficient and cost-effective way of collecting leaves time and time again, but you wanted to have a pilot program where the 10th Ward residents will be required to bag leaves and not rake the leaves in the street, and I have Assistant Superintendent Venditto here, and he will explain exactly the orders he got from the Public Works Committee based on your insistence to bag leaves.
One word you didn't say was mandatory. I didn't hear that because you missed the top paragraph where it says pilot program. Pilot doesn't mean mandatory.
Pilot means that it's one out of, it's, now you're
going to pilot program.
all residents will be required to bag leaves.
Yeah,
Mr. Venditto, would you please explain your orders?
Holy jeez.
Your
Mr. Pichelle, Have things been modified where you don't have to put them in leaves, you could put them in a garbage can?
It's always been that way.
So it's possible to put them in a clean garbage can
Put them in
and,
a clean garbage can in a bag. I don't know why everybody's making a big deal. It's a pilot program. You try it. You know what? If 50% of people comply to
Mr.
this
Council
program,
President.
50%, you're saving 50% of your manpower, correct? It's
Council
obvious.
President.
You got less time,
Wait a
less
minute.
leaves.
Let the experts speak, please.
Council President,
All right.
speak.
please.
This is
Sir.
I thought this was my report, so everybody could chime in later on. How about that?
Well, we're trying to make a determination whether or not it's, what the flyer meant.
Can I,
What was
can I say something?
Public Works?
Well,
what
if you
was
want to go by flyers, I have one that says,
No, the flyer that...
I have one that, the mayor must have approved, and it says
And I have a
the
question
Department of
also.
Public Works doesn't think. Doesn't think is not, what does it mean? Maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know.
Council
Can we
President.
listen to the expert, please?
Council
Okay,
Mr. Shaw, I have a
Expert.
question. when you're
Council
ready.
President.
Mr. Bashar, I have a question. The Boy Scouts, will that bring us into assurance liability, Mr. Hudak? Because they're picking up city leaves. Mr. Hudak,
They could pick up anybody's leaves.
will we have insurance liability if the Boy Scouts pick up the Linden city leaves?
Any volunteer organization that do something usually either has its own insurance, they're working on private property, they're not agents of the city. The Boy Scouts in particular, I'm on the executive board for the council, does have insurance covering its volunteer activities.
So we're free and clear on that one?
They're not agents of the city.
So it wouldn't affect us if somebody got, we wouldn't be responsible?
No different than if someone's uncle came over and wrecked the leaves for them. They're not agents of the city. They're not under our coverage.
Thank you.
Council
Council
President.
President.
Council President, I asked Mr. Venditto to speak on the policy.
Yes, I would like to hear from him.
Council President, I
We
just
have a
like to
speaker
say
at the
something
podium. Please,
first,
Mr.
please.
Vendetta. We'd like to move on.
Well, regarding whether the collection in bag leaves would be prudent, we were not in favor, and not because we just didn't like it. We have a lot of numbers and a lot of information that backs that up. We always felt when we picked up this form of using the loaders and the trucks, we inherited that from the county, because we asked them what could be a faster way of picking up our leaves and getting our men done, because we know leaf season is what public works departments do. We all throughout the state, and probably every department of public works, it's what we do. We do leaves this time of year. That's where we inherited this use of, where we learned this use of loaders and trucks to, and that's why one of the reasons why we purchased the large tractor trailers that we got through the Linden Roselle Sewerage Authority. But as it is not an efficient way to collect leaves up. Right now, we pick up 3,500 tons of leaves in the city of Linden. We compost those every year, not counting the grass. We have 8 collection days for bagged leaf pickup. Okay, so that means that it's actually it's a Thursday and a Friday. So once every other week for 4 weeks. Okay, we pick up in one particular set of wards. So if you add, in our best day, which is 2 full truckloads of leaves, at the maximum a truck can handle, with five trucks, the most we can collect in bagged leaves as a department is 80 tons per day. That's it. That's with bagged leaf, that's all we can do. It's physically impossible to do it on straight time. If you multiply that 80 tons, we use 5 trucks. The most we can collect in the 8 scheduled days is 640 tons, which is a far cry from the 3,500 tons. So it would actually take, for us to collect the entire city in bagged leaves, it would actually take us 43, almost 44 days in bagged leaves only. That is, if we were to try and collect them, that would take us throughout all the other seasons. It would take us into, we'd be plowing leaves. We just wouldn't be able to get them up in time. We talked about if this were to go on, if it were to be this not on the schedule for us to do this year, we would have to maybe even talk about canceling a trash day late in the year for us to actually collect all of them. The loader collection that we do far outweighs the collection all around town between the loaders and the leaf machines. We're done in a 4 to 6 week period, depending on whether we get snow or rain, and they pick up the lion's share. So if we collect with the leaf on those 8 days, we collect for the entire city 640 tons. That leaves us 2,700 tons that we pick up with the other machines throughout the year. So,
So, do you believe that this is cost efficient if we go citywide with it?
well, considering that one of the issues, because we have our own compost site, is that the bagged leaves are not truly biodegradable. They're paper bags. A long time ago, we thought that there was some new technology. They break down like regular paper bags. They have to be removed. So for them to go, they will gum up the machinery we use to chop them and clog it up. We will actually have to use a guy for one worker for quite a while to try. That's just one. For $10 an hour, the guy would have to work for like 4 weeks. $1,200 just to remove the leaves, the bags. That's why we're so strongly feel towards the loader operations and the leaf machines. They may be a little bit dirty at first. They may be a little loud, but before you know it, we're in there, we're out of there, and we're done.
Council President.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you. I'm just requesting if we can move on from this.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can talk about this in caucus.
I was
Again,
about
this was
to,
just,
get back to
Council
Mr.
President,
Purcell.
this was just a pilot program. Again, if we could just talk about this in caucus and move on, please.
We are.
I just like one more statement.
No, please.
What is your orders in regards to the 10th ward when it comes to leaves?
It's what I tell the people. It's a pilot program.
That's not their
I'm
orders.
not done yet.
I'm talking to him.
Gentlemen.
I'm talking to Mr. Venditto.
Council President, point of order.
Gentlemen.
Point of order.
Mr. Venditto, what's your orders in regards to picking up leaves in the 10th ward?
That they were required to bag their leaves. And that is the way we were heading towards it, and that's the way we're going to be scheduling our program for this year to enforce what a true pilot program is. We'll certainly know how it'll work. We'll prove it.
So the residents can't rake leaves in the street, they will not be picked up?
No.
Well, let me put it this way. They are picking them up because we called up down there, and they said they will pick them up. And that came from your department. If you want the tape played back, I'll come and see you, and I'll play the tape back. So, tell the supervisor down there to stop playing games with my residents. If some of them want to do bag leaves, and they think this pilot program should move forward, let them do it. But if other people cannot do it, they can move it out to the street. We are trying, But don't play politics from down there and somebody else's office, because it's on tape, and they said they were coming to the 10th ward, yes, picking up leaves.
If somebody said that, then they obviously made a mistake. They might have the ward boundaries a little mistaken.
No, they knew. It was mentioned, they knew.
Well, we haven't received any word from you, sir, to the superintendent.
I spoke to you, and Mr.
I asked you to
Messler
speak to
should have
Mr.
been here.
Messler.
He should have been here.
Well, he was available that day. You could have called him.
Well, he should have been here tonight.
If the direction he asked me to come, he's sick right now.
I
Okay?
know
He's been
why
sick
he's
yesterday
sick.
and today. You know better than I do.
Yeah.
But all I know is that what we were told, we received the flyer. It's the only communication we have that confirmed it, so we went forward with it.
Well, as a department head, he should have called me up and said, hey, can you clarify this? A good department head would do that, instead of going back there and saying, we're not picking leaves up from the 10th ward.
The phone works two ways.
Yeah, it does. And when I call up or send him an email, he never answers it anyway, so.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
All I have to say, and I'm going to finish, all I'm going to say is that I was at the meetings, Councilman Purcell insisted that they bag leaves, and now you're receiving what you insisted, and you don't want to listen to the experts, whether it be parking or from Public Works on the proper efficiency
I'm
of
listening
the
to
operation.
Mr. Frazier.
all my constituents, Mayor, all of them.
Mr.
And if
Frazier.
some want to participate, that's great. It'll make our ward look very clean. And maybe our catch basins won't be clogged, and maybe we can conform to the U.S. stormwater regulations or the New Jersey stormwater regulations.
Thank you.
Should read up on it. Thank you. End the report.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Frazier?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's necessary that I be brief.
Thank you.
All right. First of all, as chairman to the Environmental Commission, of which we have a real fine environmental commission in our city, and consists of people, actually residents within the community who are interested in making our city part of the green planet. We had a meeting on October 5, and it was with an organization known as ANJEC, A-N-J-E-C. What does that mean? That's the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissioners, all right? It's a very reputable organization, operates throughout of New Jersey, and pretty much oversees all of the environmental commissions throughout New Jersey. It's a great program. They sent 2 representatives, and basically, I think the newest members got a lot out of that particular meeting, which ran almost 3.5 hours. What they do, they really give us what the purpose of the commissioners' jobs are, how they go about it, how they can serve the community, and so forth. And with regards to those individuals who've been on the commission for a few years or more, it's basically a refresher program. So it's an excellent program, and I think you should be very comfortable that you have certain people who volunteer their time and who are extremely cognizant of the environmental programs within the city and basically what goals they can achieve. So I think it's a great program, and I think we have a real fine group of volunteers. Also, I'm the chairman of the Landfill Commission, which is also part of the Hawk Rise Sanctuary. In the past, I've spoken of our walkway, which is well underway. Matter of fact, I understand that if weather holds up well, the walkway, the first phase of it, will be completed by the end of this month. Phase 2 last month was voted upon and was passed on. This will include a walkway going directly to the Rawway River with observation posts there. That's considered phase 2. Remember, the access to this will be on Range Road. Again, I was very glad to get an email from one of our constituents indicating that he had noticed a great number of wild turkey down on Lower Road. So I guess for a while they were scared because of the contractors putting in the walkway. But he himself said they're back again, so I'm glad to hear that. All right, to move on now to the 9th Ward. Just for your information, Ferber Avenue, that's the section from Burlap to Raritan Road. We're going to start work there. That's going to get paved, and part of the prep work will be including concrete work, which should start hopefully next week, weather permitting. I have some news for the people on Rosewood Terrace, the 100 block. During Hurricane Irene, we had some serious flooding there, particularly in the sanitary sewer. As a result of that, our engineering department, DPW, had gotten together, and I was well aware of what was going on, and they attempted to televise, or I should say, put a television small camera through the sewer to determine if there's any breakage, split, or any obstruction there. Unfortunately, this is one of the few sewers that are approximately 24 to 25 feet below ground. And with water running, it became very, very difficult for us to attempt this to determine whether or not it was blocked. We do know that water does run, but then again, there could be other items in there such as tree roots, etc. So at this particular time, our engineering department will contract with an outside contractor who's basically, that's what his prime work is, televising sewers. And hopefully it'll be approved in November, and most important, perhaps we can get it done by December. So, Mr. President, that concludes my report as of now.
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Fish. Mrs. Yamakatis.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Fire Committee, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected a grand total of $4,008.33 for the month of September 2011. During the month of September, the Fire Department responded to 551 calls for assistance. The breakdown of the incidents include 20 fires, 159 EMS ambulance calls, and 179 EMS first responder calls. I am also very proud to announce a meritorious act that occurred in the city of Linden. On October 13th, at approximately 18:15 hours, firefighter Michael Vogel's neighbor from the 2600 block of Northwood Avenue came to firefighter Vogel's door seeking help. The neighbor's 2-year-old daughter was unresponsive and not breathing. Firefighter Vogel immediately went with his neighbor and found the little girl on the bathroom floor, having been pulled from the bathtub by her mother. The child had already begun to turn blue from not breathing. Firefighter Vogel removed the child from the bathroom and began CPR. He was told by the mother that she thought the girl may have swallowed a toy, so he began the obstructive airway maneuver, which included back blows. This caused water to be forced from the little girl's lungs, at which point she began to breathe on her own. She was transported to the hospital where she was treated and released. It is because of firefighter Michael Vogel's quick and professional action that this child is alive and fully recovered. Firefighter Vogel, would you please stand? I'd like to acknowledge you. From the Library Committee, the Linden Public Library will be hosting a workshop tomorrow, October 19th, from 12 to 3 regarding identity theft. There is also going to be a caregiver support group meeting on the fourth Thursday of every month. A special workshop for seniors called Wednesdays on the Web, which is a computer discussion group and class, will be held Wednesday, October 26th. This class is held twice a month on Wednesdays. If you have any questions on these programs, please call the Linden Public Library or go to their website. The Friends of Linden Library Tricky Tray will be held this Saturday, October 22nd at 6 p.m. Tickets sold in advance are $10 prepaid and $12 at the door, so time is of the essence if you want the $10 tickets. For ticket information, please call 925-8963 or visit their website, lindentrickytray@gmail.com. For the 8th Ward, just a reminder, with leaf season, leaf bags are available. Any resident that would like leaf bags, please give me a call and I'll drop them off at your house. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Grabunka, Chief Bavono, and members of the Police Department, as well as the residents of the 8th Ward who came to our recent community meeting to be educated on the new Raids Online program. I have been receiving email alerts. I've been getting some feedback from the residents. It's a great tool for any neighborhood watch program. Residents are encouraged to leave online tips. They can be anonymous. You're alerted of any burglaries in the neighborhoods, car thefts, damage to vehicles. So I encourage anyone to please go in any neighborhood, sign up for this Raids Online program. I just want to also mention the 8th Ward Neighborhood Watch will be having a walking and riding patrol on October 30th. Any residents interested in participating are encouraged to do so. If you cannot participate by walking or riding, we encourage all residents to keep their outside lights on Halloween weekend and call police immediately if you see anything suspicious. For more information on our Neighborhood Watch program, please give me a call at 925-2309. Thank you. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Yamakatis. Mr. Stowski, before I get you, I'd like to ask the chief about if it's possible to give us an update on the homicide that occurred in Linden. Thank you. Mr. Sadowski.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. Just a short couple of words. If you noticed in the 6th Ward today, they just started to put in sidewalks. If you asked for sidewalks, a couple of months ago, they just started putting them in, so watch where you're walking. 2, in the 6th Ward, down our area, they've been having trouble with trailer truck parkings overnight. Please remember that trucks cannot park on the city streets from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock. If there's any kind of problem, please give the police a call. We've been having some trouble with that, and the police have been responding. If any other kind of problem, please give me a call. My phone number is 862-0749, and I'll come to that, and I'll call the police for you if there's a problem that way. While walking the ward, a lot of the residents have been complimentary to the police force, saying they've seen more police cars in the ward. To be truthful, I have seen more police presence, and I want to thank the chief for whatever's happening, because they are covering the ward a little bit better. Thank you. We're still getting requests for cutting trees or trimming trees. If you know what my policy is, I will come down, I will listen to you, I will write out a form. I send one to the DPW, explaining what should happen, your address. I keep one for my file, and I send one for you. So you know definitely the date that I sent your request into the DPW. They are still backed up with the hurricane, so you got to give them a chance to catch up. I've had a few people request new trees. I'm taking the names, but new trees, of course, will not be planted till the spring. So I have so far a list of about 10 people. If you need one, give me a call back. Starting, I think it was as of today, I think the mayor said, or end of this week, the pre-exemption signal at the highway for the fire trucks. If they're going to cross the highway, they can use whatever it is, the button, change the light so they can save time. So if you buy Style Street, please, if you hear that, be careful, because the light can change quickly when the firemen are coming. I even hate to mention it, but I'm getting called for leaf bags. And I went down there, I was told that I could not collect them until November. So if you have requests, give me a call. I will get them in November, and I will deliver them to you. That's what I was told from the recycling center. The Duke properties, of course, they will be starting in the spring, setting in, I guess, water lines and electrical lines and so on, but they will be starting this spring, so that's a benefit to the city. On Saturday, October 29th, I think I mentioned this once before, the police will be collecting any old medicines that you have. Prescriptions, cold medicines, anything. They will be collecting them at the juvenile center on Knopf Street between 10 to 2 o'clock. You don't have to take your names off. You give it to the officer there, he will get it. They bring it to the county, and the county burns it. So if you have any of that. If you live in any of the towers, Murawski Towers and so on, they will have a police officer there. They haven't given a date. Once the date is set, you could check it at the towers. Let me see, anything else? Okay, last thing, since I am the representative with the senior citizens, I mentioned this last month. If anyone is interested, the Senior Men's Club of Linden is still selling 2012 entertainment books for $30. If you're interested, please go up to the center, and they have them on sale there. So if you are, please do that. And lastly, this is the last, I guess, council meeting before election time. Please vote for whoever you want, but please vote. Don't sit home, not vote, and then complain after the election for whatever it is. So go out, support your candidate, whoever that candidate may be. Thank you. That was my thing.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Cosby Hurley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I have some notes for the Fifth Ward residents. Our bulk trash collection will be on October the 26th. Also, you said, I know. We also have a problem in our ward. I received a notification 2 weeks ago, and I had a personal experience actually last week and this morning with people coming around and taking cardboard and recyclable cans. I actually called the police department this morning because a man came out and he's like actually rifling through the garbage at 6:45. So I'm like, last week I'm screaming, that's illegal, out the window. And this week he came again, so I had to call the police department. We earn on the recycles, so if you do hear something clinging early in the morning, check the window. It could be somebody taking, revenue from the city on recycle day. I'd like to thank Sergeant Fernandez for riding me through our ward and the 4th Ward and some parts of the 8th Ward when we went out on September the 30th. I'm excited that we are getting opportunity to get more police officers to our complement, that we are down 10. With that addition, I'm hopeful that we can get more patrols and continue the efforts that were so successful in the 5th Ward, eliminating a lot of the crime. And, we are starting to see some come back, so I'm hopeful that we can get this curtailed as soon as possible. I want to remind everyone that there is a walkathon for literacy this weekend on the 22nd. We're going to actually line up at Iose Park on Dill Avenue at 8 a.m. Pre-registration is requested. All the proceeds go to support Literacy Foundation See and Learn. And in the city of Linden, she does provide free things for children for literacy opportunities. She works with School 4, and I personally have worked with her in the past. I want to thank the mayor, the officers and supervisors, our chief of the police department, all of the 5th Ward residents who attended, and a special thanks to Chris Lakenda for giving us some good information. He's my neighbor, as well as the fire department personnel. So he actually, at the meeting, he was unannounced, but he did provide valuable information as far as turning our smoke detectors back, provide information as CO detectors and things like that. At the meeting, there was a question that was raised, and I clarified it with my neighbor. There's an interest in whether or not we have registered sex offenders in town, and I have to say that nj.gov, there's a site, and if you go there, you can get that information. You won't be notified always automatically if someone is registered because it depends on the nature of the offense. So if you're curious, check it out. We do have people registered, and, they're law-abiding citizens. And please read the FAQs, because if you violate and give information and create hysteria, you could be in trouble. So just nj.gov, and, the sex offender registry is there for you, for your information. I am the liaison to the Housing Authority, and I was grateful to have an opportunity to assist the Housing Authority in their opportunity seeking people who qualify for the Section 8 program. It's a program for people who working families who have lower incomes and need rental assistance. There are 300 spots on the waiting list, and I did distribute several applications. The deadline for your postmark is October the 22nd. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. I can email you the instructions as well as an application. My number is 908-477-4120, and my email is r.cosbyhurling, no spaces, at linden-nj.org. I am the liaison for the Local Assistance Board, and I was unable to make the last meeting as it was a conflict with our caucus meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for November the 7th at 5:15 p.m., and I do plan to attend. What else do I have here? We've been waiting. I know you all have heard many meetings about background checks. The chairman of the committee is not here. However, we don't have an update to date as far as what the city's going to do, if anything, at the insistence and agreement of actually the full council. It is proposed that we check the backgrounds for people who work with children, city employees, as well as any volunteers. And, the information has been distributed and given, and I'm just waiting for action to come from the committee. Also, we did have a policy passed last month, and I'm grateful that we finally do have a hiring policy in place. However, there are some things that were omitted, and tonight there's a recommendation for seasonal employees, and I'm going to still vote no because the seasonal employees are not public positions, and everyone does not have an opportunity to apply for them. I will be sitting with the personnel supervisor and the personnel specialist to hopefully, get a strong document in place where we can actually evaluate the city employees on a regular basis. So that, if you're doing a good job, we know about it. If you're not doing a good job, we also know about that too, because a lot of times we up here say, accountability, but there's nothing in place to hold the people accountable. And I will conclude with, again, cooperation. I, as a council person, I am the liaison for my neighbors. There are some things that may not seem important to some of the people who manage the departments, but if it's important to a neighbor, it should be important to a city employee as well. And I'm just asking for cooperation from the people who manage the departments as well as the committee chair people, because I'm here for everybody in my neighborhood. Ultimately, I'm here for the people of the city of Linden, and I think that should be everyone's focus. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Armstead.
Yes, Mr. President, I have the following reports. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts issued in the city clerk's office during the month of September 2011 and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. We have 100 birth, death, and marriage transcripts. City's revenue was $1,320. We had 20 marriage licenses. $66 was the city's revenue. 18 miscellaneous revenues for $26.73. 7 bingo raffles for $140. 202 EDRS vital statistics for $3,240. There was $550 in marriage licenses of state revenue, with a total of $5,342.73. The city's clerk's licensing division is submitting its monthly report for the month of September 2011. This office issued 153 miscellaneous licenses and collected $4,523. Approval is requested for the following. Before I do that, we changed our policy. We have a personal and finance report, and to my knowledge, it has been disseminated to the public. Does anyone in the public have any questions regarding the personal and finance report? Seeing none, approval is requested for the following personnel and finance actions. Number 1, in the police department, the hiring of Antonio LaCosta as a probationary police officer off the rights list at a starting salary of $44,690 effective November 1st, 2011. Once his probationary period is completed, his salary will go to a grade 7 at $54,239. Number 2, in the police department, the approval of beginning background investigations for the next 6 eligible candidates off the current civil service list for police officer and anticipated January 2012 Police Academy. Number 3, the approval of Officer Jones, Diaz, and Villard to be paid 7th grade salary of $54,239 effective 9/26/11 as per the PBA contract. Number 4, personnel required to carry out the Department of Public Property and Community Services seasonal program. The list is on file in the Treasurer's office. Number 5, the payment of bills totaling $1,246,850.26. The bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. Number 6, we are in receipt of investments made by the city treasurer for the month of September at a rate of 0.75%. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamikaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes, with the exception of number 4.
Armstead,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes in all, except number 5, no.
Colobus,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Okay, I have some information regarding the redevelopment committee. It has been brought to my attention that some of my colleagues have some concerns with regard to what's taking place on the committee. So we're going to take actions to try to help the rest of my colleagues. We're going to try to be more informative with regards to what's going on in that committee. Number one, what we're going to begin doing is provide council with a report consisting of all outstanding redevelopments and their status on a monthly basis. Number two, all council members will be permitted to forward any ideas with regards to new and potential redevelopments in the city. I encourage this, as all your ideas are welcome. Number three, I will provide a schedule to all members of the governing body of the upcoming redevelopment meetings. And last but not least, my colleague in the Fifth Ward mentioned that the Section 8 housing is open. There will be a raffle or drawing for up to 300 units. And if you are in the Fourth Ward or anywhere else in the city and you need an application, you can actually come to my house or give me a call. I do have some applications on hand. Please follow the instructions thoroughly, and they must be in by October the 22nd, and you must put them in a number 10 envelope. I'd like to, at this time, ask our new police officer, Antonio LaCosta, to stand. I'd like to congratulate him on being hired to Linden. And we look forward to working with you. Finally, there's one more bit of information. I think Councilman Sadowski mentioned it. On November 8th, we have an election. Please come out and vote. Regardless of who you choose to vote for, please come out. November 8th, that's the date. Thank you very much, and that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Armstead. Mr. Brown?
Thank you. My report's going to be short. I just have one thing I want to say. We haven't recognized today Third Ward resident George Alvarez. He's the new Board of Education member. I think you got in, a little less than a month ago. So I just want to recognize our new school board member who actually lives in our ward. So after the meeting, if anyone wants to talk to him, he's great. I feel having new fresh blood on the Board of Ed, and Board Member Alvarez is going to do a good job. So other than that, end of report.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Colobus?
Thank you, Council President. A message from the Board of Health. If you still need a flu shot, please call the Board of Health office at 908-474-8409 to register. Construction code for September, 114 certificates were issued. Total fees collected for the month was $30,516. Due to the hurricane, we processed 25 permits at no cost to the homeowners. The engineering report, the public hearing on the proposed 2012 Community Development Program has been scheduled for November 3rd, 2011 at 4:00 p.m. in the Planning Board room. Bids were received on October 7th for the West Elizabeth Avenue Flood Control Project. The low bid was favorable. However, since the NJDEP is partially funding the program, we must abide by their regulations, which require a list of at least 12 items to be sent for them for approval. Hopefully, we can award a contract by next month's meeting. Application for the city's home improvement and senior grant programs are still being accepted. For information, call the engineering department at 474-8470 or our consultant development directions at 732-382-8100. I have requests for streetlights. For the first one, I am requesting a sodium vapor light be placed at pole number 603-99LD at 907 Lincoln Street. The second one, pole number 62424 at 509 Garfield Street, and pole number 63266 on Middlesex Street, and I seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colobus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Finally, for first ward residents, I'm currently have limited leaf bags left. As Councilman Sadowski said, in November I'll be able to replenish my supply, and any resident can give me a call at 925-5568 and I will deliver the bags to you. I just want to let everybody know citywide that with Halloween, just to make sure that when our children are out trick-or-treating, that we continue to not speed in every city, in every street, and beware of the children walking across the streets, because I know they get excited that day, so they might be crossing the streets not at the proper crosswalk. So again, any resident that needs leaf bags or any other concern, please give me a call at 925-5568. This completes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, you have a report for us?
Next one.
Yes, thank you, Council President. And I'd just like to welcome Officer LaCosta to the Linden Police Department. May you have a very successful and rewarding career here in Linden. I'd also like to mention that we finalized and finished up Operation Toy Soldier. If you remember, last couple of months, I was asking people for stuffed toys so that we could distribute them to Camp Leatherneck in Afghanistan. One of our residents' son-in-law is in Afghanistan, and he requested that we ship stuffed toys so that they could distribute to the kids in Helmand Province to win their hearts and minds. And we have about 10 large boxes which we're prepared to be shipping out any day now. So I want to thank all the residents that contributed. Please don't contribute anymore. I've seen enough stuffed animals for the next 10 years. On a more serious note, as was stated, about a month and a half ago, we had a homicide on Loretta Street by St. George's Avenue. An individual was killed in a driveway, shot. The homicide investigative unit from the county, and one of our officers was assigned to it, conducted a thorough investigation, and I'm pleased to report that just the other day, they charged 3 suspects with the killing of this individual, this young man. Unfortunately, the individual that was killed belonged to the Crep gang in Elizabeth, and the killer belonged to the Latin Kings in Elizabeth. The killer was arrested the other day, an accomplice was arrested with him, and ironically, 4 days after the shooting, an individual killed himself, and he happened to be the 3rd suspect in the killing of this young man on Loretta Street. So at least justice was served. It's not something that we are proud of in the city of Linden, but I am proud of the Union County Homicide Squad and our police department in solving the case. And that's the end of my report, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To bring us into resolutions, public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the City Clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain a question on it. And prior to taking hands, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Cosby Hurling to remove one of the resolutions.
Thank you, Council President. I'm making a motion to remove ordinance 2011-338. Are we tabling this one, or are we just removing it?
Removing it.
Remove it. And I'm seeking a second, please.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. So that leaves us public comment from 2011 to 310 through 2011 to 342 minus the one we just removed. Any comments from this side of the room? Please raise your hand. Yes, please. Anyone else from on my right? Center of the room, please. Mrs. Malik.
I missed that one.
Could you speak up, please?
There was
Thank
one
you.
before 334.
Just to recap, we think we missed one. 320, 325, 334, 339, 340, 341.
Anybody?
Your name? Henry Redding. Redding? Redding. Okay.
I'm concerned on 2011, 320.
Anyone else on the left, my left? Thank you. Yes, for a motion on the remainders.
Mr. President, I ask that the hearing be closed and move for approval on the resolutions, except the following numbers. 2011, 312, 313, 314, and 315. 2011, 320, 325, 328, 329, 334, 339, 340, 341. And I seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Pichelle?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes in all, except for number 319 now.
That wasn't.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, I abstain on 2011, 336. 2011, 312, Pat Hero, please.
Okay, I'll do 312 through 315.
Thank you.
Yeah, I understand we do have additional court appearances, but I've been doing this civic activism at the podium here for about 7.5 years, and I've never seen so many times when we've had to hire additional municipal prosecutors. And I think that maybe we should consider getting a municipal prosecutor that could handle all these dates, instead of having us contract out different ones. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Motion, please.
Okay. Mr. President, we are seeking a motion to approve resolutions 312, 313, 314, and 315, and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Pichelle?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2011, 320, Mr. Reddick.
In reference to that, I was concerned of the traffic, and the community has, the people have said to me that they are deeply concerned about that specific issue, because it is a disco club up there on Park Avenue, and I took notice when the people told me that, and I spoke to some individuals that told me when one circuit break down that system, it turns into a circus. And I indicated.
Mr. Reddick, this is 320, a resolution amending a contract with Birdsall Service.
Well, please disregard every statement I made.
Mrs. Malik?
I just wanted to get some clarification for what is this development grant and this ongoing nature of the various work, if someone could expound upon it.
That's Birdsall, right? Number 320?
Number, yeah, 320, right.
May I defer that to the engineering department, please? George?
Mr. Verchek.
320.
Okay, first of all, the money is coming from a federal grant that we received a couple of years ago. The additional money is to prepare applications for the state's energy audit program, and also to calculate how much energy we are saving with all the improvements we're putting in. Yeah, that's from day one.
Council President, I have a question.
Mr. Brown?
Is all the funds grant money, or let me put this away, in any part, are we using any taxpayer funds for this?
No.
Any further comment on 320? Motion, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2011-320. I seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Malik, since you're already here, 325?
Can someone provide more information on this, the change for this act, the Open Public Records Act?
Ms. Malik, this is a resolution that was brought forth by the city clerk, and we had discussed it. Many governing bodies are pushing this resolution for the legislature to look at the act because the Open Public Records Act, although well-intentioned to allow everybody to get records, is being misused by many commercial entities and overburdening clerk's offices with numerous requests for check runs, names and all, to get personal information from residents, basically to solicit you for commercial purposes. And that was never really the intent of the law, is to turn the government into a basically clearinghouse for commercial businesses. And that's what it seeks to correct.
So to kind of streamline things and cut off?
Well, it's basically to make, we want to give the residents the records they seek, but when you got companies out in California sending voluminous requests into the clerk's office almost weekly to provide records because they want to send you an email to solicit to you something, that's what we're seeking to stop.
And these commercial requests, this is done like free of charge?
Essentially, other than the cost of the paper, that's under the current law, we're not allowed to charge for them.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Hero. Motion, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2011-325, and I seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2011-328, Ms. Hero.
My name is Pat here. I live on Wheat Chief Road, and I want to commend the City Council for proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's often overshadowed by the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and granted, the breast cancer awareness is a very, very serious cause. But I also think domestic violence is a very, very serious cause also, and should be given more attention than I think it does this month, and as always, because it's not something that we like to look at. And yet, it affects many people. It affects the very rich to the very poor. It affects all ethnic groups, and it affects the children who are subject to domestic violence. It affects you, whichever sexual orientation you are. Domestic violence knows no bounds. And so I'm glad that you are proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I once heard that there is more shelters for animals in this country than there are for victims of domestic violence. And I want to say to all of you that there are phone numbers you can call and there are steps you can take if you are a victim of domestic violence. And I hope we can do more in the nation to stop this epidemic of domestic violence in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2011-325. I'm sorry, 328, and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colobus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Motion, Resolution 2011-329, Ms. Hero.
Maybe we can talk about this, maybe we can't, I don't know, but I will ask anyway. What is going on here? Apparently, we're involved in another lawsuit. What's the nature of this and what's going on?
There is a lawsuit which the county is seeking to recoup certain funds from the city because the law department it would be conflicted because we will be witnesses. In essence, we're going to an outside firm with no ties to the county to represent the city.
But what are they suing us in regard to?
It's in litigation beyond that. So.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
A motion, please.
Mr. President, I request a motion to adopt 2011-329, ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
No.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colobus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 334, Mrs. Malik.
Can someone explain in a little bit more detail how this flexible spending account is working or going to work? You have this $15,000. I mean, whose money is this? Well, let's just start off, explain a little bit more about this account and how it's working.
Mrs. Zach.
And why I'm asking this, especially in lieu of that this is going to be saving, our taxpayers money.
Mr. Roth.
The flexible spending account is part of Chapter 78. It's the new law that the state adopted to change the health benefits for state workers and municipal employees. Basically, the flexible spending account is an account where, and this is not an option, we have to do it. We have to at least offer it. The employees don't have to take it. An FSA account is basically an employee takes their money, puts it into a bank, so to speak.
I'm familiar with, I should say, with the flexible spending account, the principle of it. But here you're saying the benefits, services, an amount not to exceed the $15,000.
We need to, another wonderful unfunded mandate from the state, we need to pay for the administration. This company is for the 15,000, not to exceed 15,000, is also going to coordinate our COBRA for the same price. So it's included in that same price. So that's what, it's the administration of the flexible spending account. And we pay a fee per person who establishes an account. That's why it's a not to exceed. We don't know how many people are going to actually do it, establish an account, and also to operate the COBRA as part of that. COBRA benefits when someone leaves.
All right, fine, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2011334 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colobus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 2011-339, Mrs. Malik.
I can lump 339 and 340 together. Is there any contribution from the city employees for the dental and for the Medco prescription drug plan?
Medco, the city presently has a co-payment. The co-payment for generic is $10, for brand is $20. And under the dental, this is for the fully insured dental plan for our employees. We had gone to the market, 17 companies we had looked for, 7 declined to bid, and we had gotten bids back from Delta Dental, and this includes a 4% increase for our fully insured coverage for dental. The prescription for Medco...
Excuse me, you said 4% increase?
It was 4% increase over last year, 2011. For 2012, it'll be a 4% increase, roughly $27,000. And when it deals with Medco, that's our prescription plan. We're self-funded, so for every dollar we spend, we have to pay out. So when it comes to Medco, again, our broker had gone to the marketplace, looked at 15 various companies, 6 vendors quoted on it, and Medco is the company we presently have. They're going to do a 1 year, we're looking to do, and based on their estimates, they're looking to save approximately $200,000 for the city.
Okay, but then on 340, it's self-funded, and what you just said is you pay in $1. But how can you know that you're going to be paying not to exceed a cost of roughly $2.2 million?
What we did through Medco was our broker negotiated greater rebates, so there's going to be greater rebates that are going to be coming back to the municipality, a substantial amount larger than what we had presently had under the old contract. And this is going to be for a 1-year contract. And again, next year we'll go back to the marketplace, and if there's a company that can be more competitive, then we would look to move to that company.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Mr. Sharpie?
Paul Sharpie, other side of 315 Second Avenue, Linden. On this 339 and 40 and 41. Now, on my job, I got the same package, all under Blue Cross Blue Shield. They take care of my dental and my medical under one. Here, this for each individual employee here in the city, we're paying for each individual $350 for each individual, 607 employees that we have here in the city. Now, this is affecting next year's budget. Am I correct, Treasurer?
Yes, this is for 2012.
Okay. Because 4 months ago, we talked about this contract that you just made. Now, City Council, you've all told me that right when we passed this last budget, each and every one of you up there said that we will work on next year's budget starting back when we signed the last budget. Here is where it starts. Where are each individual one of you looking to save us? The state told you that you could lay off 22 people. Right now, you're going into next year's budget with these 3 resolutions. Am I correct, Treasurer?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I rest my case.
Motion on 339, please.
And 342.
We have other people to speak on 340.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2011-339 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Wolvedink on 2011-340. Motion, please, for
340.
Mrs. Malik. You spoke on 341. Then I'll need a motion on 340. Motion.
You
Want me to comment on 341?
No, separate.
Separate. 340.
Okay. Make a motion to adopt Resolution 2011-340 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Zadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 341. Mrs. Malik.
I thought the Linden landfill was capped, so what are we using this screener for? What's the purpose of this equipment?
I'll answer that. that particular equipment, that apparatus, is used down at the landfill to convert composted leaves into natural topsoil, at which we then place on top of our landfill for any particular areas that bust out during any torrential storms and so forth. It's not rented all year, it's just rented for a few months. Right now is the composting season. The
Understood.
compost that's going to be used is that which was put in last year. Okay?
Right. Good, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Motion, please.
I got a question on that one. How's that
Mr.
machine, how's that
Michelle?
piece of machinery work, if someone could explain it?
Would you come to the mic, please?
I'll be very happy to meet with you down there and show you.
Oh, no, he'll just do it quick.
Good.
I forgot it was here.
I'm not extremely proficient with the stuff that goes out at the landfill. Actually, Mr. Fraser might have a better idea. But basically what it does is it takes it pretty much screens and crushes the leaves. It takes them and brings them into a finer material and then makes it almost perfectly, it decomposes it even at a better rate with that. And then because it's already completely turned into dirt, and then it could be spread out more evenly up in the landfill.
That's similar to the one they use up at the quarry where Scott's does their leaf.
Probably.
Goes down, moves the mountains, and...
I haven't seen it. I'm not that familiar
like
with it.
So it rips and tears and moves
Yeah.
the leaves and crushes.
And it more or less makes it more of a
separates
loose
and just
soil.
makes big things into small little pieces.
Yeah, so it'll
Okay.
spread out further.
Like bags.
Motion,
Okay.
please.
I just wanted to say.
Thank you.
Mr. President, ask that we adopt Resolution 2011-341 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Purcell?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Has everybody had an opportunity to sign the sheet in for public input? The council, in order to take into consideration public input for the proposed ordinance, will allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on the ordinance on first reading. Council will not answer any questions, and everybody is reminded that the public hearing on these ordinances will be held next month's council meeting. Okay, we have 3 ordinances this evening, 5551, 5552, 5553. Does anybody wish to speak on the ordinances? Seeing no one, I ask for a motion, please.
Ordinance 5551, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic shall be amended as follows. 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A Handicap Parking on Street, add 425 Ainsworth Street, 1110 Bauer Street, 622 East Curtis Street, 2016 Orchard Terrace, 413 Ridgeford Terrace, delete 335 Ashton Avenue, and 737 Keep Street.
Motion, please.
Make a motion for ordinance 55-51 to seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Pashel?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5552.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2 Administration, Article 4, Section 2-27, Department of Public Property and Community Services, Division of Public Works, Bureau of Sewers. Amend 2-27.3E, Bureau of Sewers. Add new section 2-27.31, fees created as follows. If a homeowner requests the Bureau of Sewers more than once in a 30-day period, said fee shall be waived.
Motion?
I move for introduction 55-52 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Paschal?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Brown? Colibus?
Yes. Excused.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5553.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-42, Parking Fines, 7-42.1, fines established as follows. Add to Section 7-42.1, fines, emergency no parking, $80, stopping or standing prohibited at all times, $40, stopping or standing prohibited during certain hours, $40, parking time limited on certain streets, $40, metered spots using beyond max time limit, $40, private parking without owner's permit, $40, parking prohibited during certain hours on certain streets, $40, no parking during school hours, $40, parking on one-way streets on the wrong side, $40, bus stops, $40, taxi stands, $40, and permit parking in municipal lots, $40.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction for ordinance 5553 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Paschal?
Oh, yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Excused.
He's here.
I'm sorry.
That was quick.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Colibus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Okay. This comments from the members of the public in attendance on city business only. No personal, political, derogatory comments not to exceed 5 minutes. And Carol, 6th word.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I guess my first question is, the Polish delis, the few Polish delis that are in Linden, I was just kind of wondering why are their menus just in their language, that I can't go in there and order things? I mean, all your other restaurants are in English, you know? I guess it bothers me because I was in there one day and one of the patrons asked me what was I doing in that store, that I wasn't Polish, that I can't read, I shouldn't be in there. So I'm just wondering why the Polish stores can keep just Polish language and Chinese and everybody else's restaurants are in English.
Mr. Hudak?
That's not a regulation by the city of Linden. We can't tell a store what language to advertise in.
Oh, no?
That is their choice, and if they want to stick with Polish, we can't force them to go to English or vice versa.
All right. Next question. Regarding Wheeler Park, the soccer field, at that meeting about a month ago, they were talking about $1 million for a drainage system for that soccer field?
Again, that's Union County. That is not Linden or county taxes. That's money coming out of the open space fund, which everybody contributes a small percentage to. That was approved about 10 years ago as part of your taxes. And don't quote me on it, 0.1% would go to open space, and Union County could only use that money for parks or recreation. Now, if we don't get a soccer field with that free money in the city of Linden, it's going to go to Mountainside or Westfield or someplace else. So it's not costing the taxpayers 1 penny of funds, whether it be Linden or Union County.
I thought you just said it came from us taxpayers. It
Yes,
comes to
but you're
that fund.
required, the voters 10 years ago added that little extra tax that you pay to the county in addition to your normal taxes, so that the county could use that for open space. And that's the only thing the county could use that added small percentage of tax for, recreation or open space. So if it's not spent in Linden, that money will be spent in another community.
They couldn't just give that money back to us? I mean, $1
No,
million for a drainage system?
the voters approved an added tax so that monies would be available for open space in Union County.
Yeah, number one, when that was on the ballot, nobody knew what that question meant. I know people I all spoke to said no, and it turned out to be yes. And again, 10 years ago, maybe people could afford that. Today, $1 million for a drainage system when half of Linden was flooded out is ridiculous.
Number one, I don't know.
That park is a mess. The Wood Avenue side needs to be done, but a drainage system?
I don't know if you're correct with $1 million on a drainage
That's
system.
what they said at the meeting.
Well, I think that may be quite a bit high, but again, I don't have knowledge of that cost factor.
But still a drainage system. I mean, professional ball players, you see them out there putting the tarp. Football players play in that mess. That's totally uncalled for.
Thank you. Lorraine?
Could I just answer?
Yes. Go ahead.
I just want to thank, she's one of my constituents. She lives down the block from me, and we have good conversations over the phone. We don't agree all the time, but I'm glad she came out. A lot of others have called up. They didn't even show up. I'm glad that you came out and expressed your opinion, because that's the only way people will know and the only way we can get things done. I've had about 6 phone calls, 7, but you were the only one who said you were coming, and you did come. Thank you.
Mrs. Wolverdink?
Diane Wolverding, 150 East Morris Avenue. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the tricky tray that Mrs. Yamakaitis mentioned. I've been working with Joanne Garris and Louise Byer. The prizes are gorgeous. You should see these baskets. They're so pretty. When you win them, you won't want to open them. So I'm trying to encourage everyone to come out. There's still tickets available. It supports the library, and I know there's lots of people around that like tricky trays. So like I said, there's still tickets available, and they are gorgeous. We've been working real hard on this stuff. We'll be putting it up on Saturday. There's lots of parking over at St. Elizabeth's Church, so come on out and join us. And like I said, you won't even want to open the prizes. They're so pretty, and it does support the library. And also, with Councilman Sadowski said, come out to vote. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sharpie?
We have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
First, I'd like to address my first ward councilman on the issue of kids going to school in the morning and crossing at the intersections of...
Can you talk into the mic, please, Mr. Shabby?
Crossing at the intersections of, in front of Lawson Park. I have here where a tree is blocking a sign of stop sign ahead. It's being blocked by a sign. Drivers driving down Washington Avenue cannot see it. Commercial vehicle here within 5 feet of a crossing, staying in front of the park. Commercial vehicle parked there at an intersection where kids are crossing in the morning, afternoon, and after school. And there's a commercial vehicle parked within 5 feet of a sign where kids cross at. I've addressed this city council, went to the police department, let them know. I let the mayor know. This tree hasn't been removed, blocking the sign. I've been down here every day. Look at that. You come up close to that sign, you don't even know there's a sign behind the tree. I've addressed this from the top to the bottom of the administration. It has not been done. It's 3 weeks it takes to fix something like this. I asked for lines to be marked, to slow down things to be done on Washington Avenue, and the condition of Washington Avenue from Henry Street all the way out to St. George Avenue is a disgrace. Potholes on it and everything up. Now, how long does it take to get something done in my ward? I call him up, I gotta wait till after he's done his job in the morning, or and to school. I gotta wait till he gets home to get dressed.
Excuse me, Mr. Shappy, when's the last time you called me up?
Because you never get any.
No, I just want to know the last time you called me up.
You don't even deserve to be a council person.
Whoa.
Thank you for your recommendation. Thank you.
I've been a councilman 8 years in my hometown in Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
I've been a councilman 5 years in my hometown in Linden, New Jersey.
Thank you for
Well,
your
I've been a
comments.
citizen here.
I've been a citizen in Linden for the last 35 years.
Councilwoman, you have a question?
No, I just wanted to, Mr. Shappy, just to your point, as I stated earlier, we are your liaison, and I know lots of people in the first ward, and they have issues as well. Some of them are similar to yours. And just for my colleagues' defense, as I defend my own and everybody up here, we depend on the employees. We depend on the department managers. We make our recommendations, and we get sometimes excuses. So while you keep your complaints, and Councilman Colopis does, act on them, he's a good councilman, and it's not fair that you attack him that way.
Thing I want to share, I got my.
Thank you, Rashana.
3 more minutes.
No problem.
Correct? Incumbency has given rise to complacency as to the well-worn belief that the voters will re-elect them regardless of how corrupt or unrespected or honest they are to the voters. I rest my case.
Thank you. Judy Miller?
Excuse me. Good evening. I want to bring up the bagging of leaves. I live in the 10th Ward, and as most of you council people know, I'm pro bagging leaves. Lyndhurst residents have to start bagging their leaves as of November 1st. The move has become common with municipalities who have previously used loaders, dumpers, sweepers to move large piles of leaves off the street. In 2004, new stormwater management regulations established by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection prohibited leaves from remaining in public streets for more than 7 days in an effort to rid clogs in storm drains and decrease the risk of flooding streets. Now, the superintendent of Public Works in Lyndhurst, Mr. Russo, said this move will eliminate any possibility of a violation of rules and will help Lyndhurst manage local flooding. He said currently, when storm drains and basins are cleaned out by town's vac trucks, leaves make up the majority of the blockage. They also bag leaves in Rutherford, North Arlington, East Rutherford, and Carlstad. Now, the mayor, John Hipp of Rutherford, although alternatives to leaf bagging have been explored, experience in other communities as well as our own research indicates that bagging leaves is the most effective way to comply with the mandate. So, I'm wondering why we don't have to comply with the mandate. Do we leave our leaves in the street more than 7 days? Yes, we do. Do I think leaves in the street is another traffic safety issue? Yes, I do, especially when I skidded out of Fernwood onto Stiles. Our Public Works Department, I love them, they do an excellent job, but on this schedule, it states that it is illegal to leave waste or grass in the curb line. Leaves are only permitted in the curb line from October to December. So if waste and grass is illegal, why are landscapers able to throw branches, pumpkins, mums, hedges, and whatever they want? We could lower taxes if somebody would ride around and give summonses out to all the landscapers. But wait, we don't know who they are because there's no names on the trucks. One more thing. Due to manpower, mechanical breakdowns, and leaf volume, we cannot issue specific collection days to residents. Piled leaves raked into the curb line must be free of rocks, sticks, branches, other vegetative waste, dirt, and garbage debris. I can show it all to you right now. Piled leaves must be kept at least 10 feet from runoff basins. The four on my street have leaves up to the top. Who's responsible for cleaning off the runoff basins?
Councilwoman? Question?
Well, I can't answer who's responsible for cleaning the runoff basins. I did want to just touch on what you said. The initial pilot program was for the 5th and the 10th ward. I buddied up with Councilman Purcell because it was an idea to save money.
Yep.
When I received the contact from the superintendent of the department, there was an allusion made. He alluded to me in the email that if I insisted to be a part of the pilot, that our leaves wouldn't get picked up. So I deferred and allowed it for 10th ward because where you all live, there's a lot more trees than where I live. So again, it all comes down to cooperation.
Right.
It's a good idea. And one of the reasons is, again, to prevent the blockage of the sewer. One of my neighbors is here tonight. She had a humongous issue with the hurricane and probably was due in part to sewer blockage. So I just wanted to say that it was a pilot, and whoever, made the order, we were always told committee form of government. If the committee chairman had not made a directive and it was not in writing, they assumed that it was mandatory. It's a pilot. We deferred from the 5th ward to allow it to work in the 10th ward because we didn't think we were going to get, the leaves picked up. But if anybody does want leaf bags, give me a call. I'll have them for you.
All right, but what about the debris that's left in the street by the landscapers? Who's responsible for that? I mean, who issues the summons? I know there's a lot more important things in Linden for the police officers to be doing.
1 minute.
There's homicides, there's house break-ins, there's car break-ins. I don't think arguing over bagging leaves is the most important thing that the people should be concerned about in the city of Linden. If everybody could just work together for this one little thing, and we talk about pride, bringing pride back into the city of Linden, don't that start at your own front door? So if the front of your house looks like trash, and you drive into Linden and you see debris all over the street, how prideful are you going to be?
Right. Can somebody answer her question about who's going to issue the summonses? Because I'll take a ticket, but nobody?
She's coming up to answer.
Oh.
We have inspectors when whatever we don't pick up. Inspectors drive around, the same sanitation inspectors, supervisors that do sanitation and garbage also. We have supervisors that that are on leaves in particular. So whenever they come through, whatever's left behind, we'll let the resident know. If they had a contractor that came and put them out there, it is ultimately their responsibility to the resident because they put them out there. So what we do go, and if we miss one, we will always go back, and if we miss it Monday, Friday, we'll probably be there Monday. And if we know about it.
It's every week. The landscaper comes every week, takes the same leaves, off the lawn, throws them in the street. He comes back, he charges the same people for the same leaves.
Right. Well, that's the thing. When you bring however you get your leaves to the curb or however you get them bagged, that's your leaves and grass or landscape. Unless they're taking them away and they're charging them, we have no quarrel with anyone if they're putting them out in the normal manner. Okay. Because it's grass. It's different than like a sheetrock contractor who throws out massive amounts. This is a normal progression of nature, leaves and grass. Well, the grass shouldn't be there. Well, if we know about it.
Grass right into the street.
Well, if we know about that, then, let us know if we don't know about it. because they're not supposed to do it, and our inspectors will.
You guys would issue the summons.
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Like
that's what-
your
that's what-
addresses.
Sure.
You would go and issue the summons.
Yes, we will.
Okay. I'll hold it to you.
No problem.
Thank you. Mike Barry, 400 Princeton.
So I saw a supervisor that had to stop the truck and take pumpkins out of the leaves year after year after year, mums, everything. All right, thank you.
Good evening. I'll try to be very brief because I know it's very late. I was actually in my office watching the council meeting because unfortunately in my house I have FiOS, so I don't get Channel 36.
You get Channel 42, though.
Is that what it is on FiOS?
Yeah,
Oh,
42.
see, I learned something new just by coming here. See, that's good. Mr. Puchel is my councilman, and I guess the majority of the questions that I have, Richard, for you, and it's regarding this leaf thing, because although I watched it on the council meeting, on just now in my office, be honest with you, I came away from it more confused than when it began. I got this flyer yesterday, and erroneously, my neighbor across the street, because my house sits on the corner of Princeton and Amherst, and where my house is, I know Chris knows where it is the 10th Ward. But directly across the street on Amherst and the surrounding area going down Princeton, as far as Exeter, is the 9th Ward. So I'm kind of in like an odd area as far as this particular program goes. My question, Rich, and you and I know each other, I know this flyer says pilot program, and I heard you expound on it earlier with the mayor. But in the second paragraph, it says, all residents will be required. I heard your response. I listened to the gentleman from Public Works. And what I'd like to know on record before I go to jail or something is, what is the final determination? Because, I mean, you go by my house all the time. My landscapers put the leaves out to the curb. And I'd like to know on record, what is the final determination? Can I put these leaves out to the curb as I've been doing for the past 28 years? Or am I mandated to bag them?
There's no mandate,
Okay.
all right? It's a pilot program. The only thing I'm asking people is to try. And if you look across the street from your residence, there's a catch basin in the center of the street. What's in the catch basin?
I have a picture of it, as a matter of fact, with me.
I do too, yeah. And that's why we're asking, do as much as you can.
But
Until
what-
it's overwhelming, then put it out the street. It's less time for public work, less time Public Works stays around the area and gives them time to do something else.
What I also have, though, is a picture, and this is what I mean about the wards bordering each other, which I know is unique to my situation. This is looking out of my driveway up Princeton Road. Here's the catch basin, by catch basin you're referring to. However, further up in front of one of the homes, which I think, as a matter of fact, is abandoned on a 300 block of Princeton. When you come down Princeton on the right, I think that house...
That's 9th Ward, that's foreclosure, I think.
Oh, is that what it is, foreclosure? Well, there's a pile of leaves in front of that house, okay? I know I've seen people cutting the grass there even though the house is empty. When a good wind comes, after I do the right thing and I bag my leaves up, and a good wind comes along and blows these back across into my driveway, what do I do with this? And I'm saying hypothetically with the bagging situation.
See, the one thing with the bagging situation, too, you put your leaves out, your lawn looks nice and, manicured, right? The other guy puts his leaves out, his lawn looks manicured. The other person puts their leaves out. Wind comes by, the leaves are on that guy's lawn, the leaves are on that guy's lawn, the leaves are on that guy's lawn. If everybody really tried to pick them up, but just did half, three-quarters,
But there
it'd be
again,
good.
the problem, I reiterate, is we're back to the same point. Where in particular I'm situated, and like I said, I know...
because you're on the border.
Right, I mean, if I bag my leaves, and my neighbor across the street, who, by the way, I was gonna give $100 to blow the leaves over there, okay, and he doesn't bag his leaves, I'm back to square one, and that's why I'm glad you said it's not mandatory.
Yeah, it's not. That was just rumors, political stuff coming from somewhere.
I'm not, with all due respect, Rich, it says, and you and I know each other, with all due respect, it says right in the second paragraph that it's required.
Yeah, under the pilot program. It doesn't say mandatory under this program that you have to bag leaves. There's no mandatory in there. Pilot program, it would require you to bag leaves, right?
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
it
we
need-
could keep
then maybe
going on
that
and
needed
on.
to be expounded a little more on the flyer.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do my best. I have a million things to do, and I think I work hard in the 10th Ward. So, if you don't try something, it's like anything else in this world. You don't try it, How's it gonna work?
Well, that's kinda
You know?
like- it's
And
kinda-
you have to do little by little, and I like to see people do the part. In my yard, I have 3 oaks back there, neighbors. My leaves are piled up. Know what I do? I take them, I blow them into the middle. I have a big pile of leaves. You know what they look like later on? I hit them with my lawnmower 3 or 4 times. I have dust, and my grass looks great. If you go to Rutgers Cooperative in Westfield, they'll give you a cooperative.
One minute, sir.
You know it.
Say that 3 times
Well,
fast.
yeah, I know. You go there, it'll tell you. I see everybody put their grass in a garbage can and send it out. Grass is natural fertilizer. Leaves, you hit with the lawnmower, natural fertilizer. And it'll save your storm drains from getting clogged up and all of that. You know, we could go back and forth
I
on leaves,
agree.
but, you know, everybody just wants to push a leaf issue. Come on, just try.
Well, it's
If you
not so
can't-
much-
But if you can't do it, put them at the curb.
I'm not pushing a leaf issue. I'm simply stating that I've lived in my house for 28 years.
Yeah.
Okay, this past August, okay? For 28 years, I've had landscapers put the leaves to the curb. You know, I've, thank the good Lord, I've never had a flood in my house even with the hurricane, which I would like to commend Public Works. They did a great job, the police, everybody else. But I've never had a flood in my house, okay? Do I see leaves in the catch basin? Sure, sometimes, but usually the Public Works guys come along and they vacuum it or sweep it or whatever it is, because with all due respect, this to me is an atypical example of a couple of years ago, some rocket scientist came up with the idea, well, let's put a tree on everybody's lawn. The tree on my lawn looks like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. It's a piece of you-know-what. But let's put a tree on everybody's lawn, because we need a cool community. My community was pretty cool without these stupid trees.
Well, you got the rainforest nearby,
That-
if you know
that
what I mean,
thing-
too.
That tree wouldn't make good kindling. You couldn't make a marshmallow with the kindling you would get from that tree.
Yep, yep.
You know what I'm saying? But let's arbitrarily put a tree on everybody's lawn, because I think this is a good idea.
Mike, 30 seconds.
Yeah, you
Okay.
might have Jeff Tandle here, so you better watch it.
I don't, I'd love to, I don't know who that gentleman is.
Oh,
but
he's the guy that put the tree on your
Is he?
lawn.
Well,
Yeah.
tell him he did a bang-up job when you meet him, because I needed that tree. That was very important. All right, as long as we know it's not me.
Yeah,
and-
it's
and
not.
I was just
Like I
concerned, too,
said,
that, you know, there was rumors that the leaves in the street weren't going to be swept,
No.
and it rains, you know, people
I
crash.
just tell people, try to do it if you can't put in the street. That's less leaves, that's less blowing on your lawn, my lawn. I just hope people just work together. And you know how it is. If you don't try it, you know,
Well,
it's
my theory
like
is,
anything else.
my theory is, Public Works doesn't tell me and you how to do a traffic stop, I wouldn't tell them how to pick up leaves. Yeah, you know, that's, because I'm a retired
Thank you,
cop,
Mr.
for those of you who don't know.
Council President, I'd like to just clear this up, because this is confusing to a lot of people.
Oh, my God.
And I want to 10th Ward residents to know the operation that Public Works is going to do, because they told me they are not picking up any leaves from the street. It's just that simple, Councilman Purcell.
Well, Mayor, stop playing politics.
I'm not playing
We beat
politics.
this to death. They are going to pick up the leaves because we pay the highest taxes in the city. We're trying a project. So stop beating it up. Stop playing politics, because I know you made calls. I have them on tape that they are going to go pick it up. So the case is settled. They
Mr.
will pick up the
Vendetta,
leaves
what
and
is
we
your
put the leaves.
direction with picking up leaves in the 10th Ward?
This is enough. Look at the
Because
time.
people are confused.
I explained it to the people.
Please,
You
please.
understand that this
No
is
argument
wrong.
from the floor.
Thank you.
Just to pick them up in bags.
What is your direction with the 10th Ward?
Just to pick all leaves only in bags.
In other words, people can't rake them in the street.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Well, you got the wrong directions, and it didn't come from me. It came from somebody
Can I
who's
ask a
not here
question?
tonight, who knew they were going to be put up to this, so they're not here. That's what it is.
There was a vote by this governing body to make it mandatory bag leaves in the 10th Ward on your insistence. And now you're backwatering.
I don't backwater, Mayor. You may, but I never backwater. I tell the truth. I don't have no reason to backwater. I don't even know what backwater is. You know? So, just right there.
Cut them off.
You have no clue. I explained it. People explained it. It's on TV. It's explained. We are here to try it. If you can't do it, put it up at the curb. We have Boy Scouts who want to go out and help. The seniors, the disabled. If they could get it out there and they'd like to participate, you will call me. I'll set up a date and then we'll do it. I don't know you understand. I'll send you a memo tomorrow explaining it in bold So you know exactly what I said here. It's a pilot program. Everybody understands that it's a pilot program. Try to bag your leaves. If you have a problem, you're disabled, or you don't think this is a good program, you don't want to help the environment just a little, put it at the curb. Public Works will pick it up. Does that sound clear? Does everybody understand what I said?
What is required mean?
Thank you.
What does required mean?
Can I ask a question, please?
Councilwoman, yes, please.
There's way too much time being spent on
Thank
this.
you.
Required means if you intend to participate, then you are required to bag your leaves. If you intend not to participate, put them at the curb. What's most important here is the mayor is making a big deal about this, and you, Mr. Vendetto, we appreciate your time tonight. He keeps coming up here talking about where he gets his direction. His direction should come from his superintendent, who should get his direction from the committee. And Mr. Pushell is not on the committee, and we're not allowed to attend the meetings. So the direction, as we're always told, comes from the committee. And I'd like to further ask that all direction from now on be given in writing from the committee person or the chairman to the department head, and you know, disseminate it in writing, so there's no doubt as to what the directions are. Please.
There you go.
Thank you, Councilwoman. As far as it being too much of a concern for you, I live in the 10th Ward, and I'm just more confused now with the Public Works saying...
There's other people, Council President, that need to speak. They have issues too. This is since 8 o'clock.
You represent your ward, and the 10th Warders have the right to find out what the results of this program is going to be.
You work with Councilman Pushell. You haven't expressed a concern. But in the caucus, people have their names listed. They want to speak.
And they will have an opportunity. Okay. Patty Murgo.
Patty Murgo, 2519 Greer Avenue. I see that, unfortunately, Mr. Frazier's not here. Can anyone answer any questions pertaining to the landfill and the walkway, the pathway that's being done and worked on there?
Do you have a specific question? I'm on the committee, but we don't really meet unless there's a necessity, and he gives us updates regularly, so I might be able to answer your question.
Okay, I didn't know that you're on the committee. Thank you.
I'm on a committee.
You're on the committee. Good. My question is, I've been getting phone calls, and I was glad Mr. Frazier mentioned tonight that it's compared to leaves. I don't think this is that important, but I'm going to have to say this about the wild turkeys. That the wild turkeys are back. I had gotten quite a few phone calls from people that have gone up to the shelter, to the animal shelter, and they have been told up there that they're killing the animals, the wildlife animals that are up there. I had told, being that I do come to council meetings, and Mr. Frazier had stated this many times, that this is for wildlife, for people, that there's going to be a walkway, that there's going to be tours going up through there, that the wildlife is not going to be disturbed. I just want to make sure that this is correct. I did give Mr. Frazier's phone number out to a couple of people who had asked me, but when I told them that, no, according to me working, you know, with the shelter and people there and volunteers, that it's not going to happen. I just want to make sure that the wildlife that's up there is going to stay, and that we're not going to be opening up any animals getting killed up there.
There will be, as far as the wild turkeys, Mr. Frazier made mention of that this evening, that they've been going a little further beyond the boundaries because of the construction. They're not, you know, to be destroyed. There will be in the near future, I don't know if I'm supposed to speak on this, but they're going to be trying to control the deer population soon.
So that I can understand, yeah.
But the
But
wild
other than
turkeys
that,
and everything else, everything's going to stay.
Okay,
the
the
way
only
it
thing
is.
I'm going to, well, being that you said the deer, I know there's a big buck up there that's a 10-pointer, and I hope to God that still remains, because that deer has attracted a lot of people in the
Yeah.
state of New Jersey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Dixon?
Good evening, Council, and all the governing body. My name is Wally Dixon, 1026 Bergen Avenue. The past few weeks, I've been going to the different residents in the 4th Ward, and we have a message for the Linden Police Department. And our message is that we want to thank you. Since the recent murders we had in Linden, in the 4th Ward, we want to thank you because we do see your presence. and that came from the residents as well as myself. And it also takes me back to an article I read when I was getting recruited to go to Rutgers University. A lot of different coaches was coming to my house, and I found an article in 1993. And the article is stating that the reporter was asking the coaches that came to my residence in Linden on 1212 McCallum Street, what was the city like? And the coach answer was, the city where I lived at in Linden, the answer was, you know, a nice neighborhood, single family, 2-family homes with children playing in the driveways. Basically saying it's a safe neighborhood, and I would like to see the city of Linden get back to that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Lee Wade. I apologize, I missed the out of order there.
My name is Laura Lee Wade, and I reside in Linden for 18 years, and I have a business on Price Street for the last 19 years. On September the 28th, Wednesday, I had to stop work early because I had no hot water. Didn't know why I didn't have hot water till I went in the basement. The city sewer line backed up in my basement. There was almost 3 feet of water down here. We couldn't get it out. Called the fire department. They came out. They were very nice. They started the job. They got the water out for 2 hours. Then they brought the line to the front, and they said they couldn't do any more because they realized that it was the sewer line and the stuff was still coming in. He told me I would have to call the Department of Public Works. They put in a call for me. I didn't get anyone. Now this is like 7:30 at night. Now it's 10:30 at night. I still don't have anybody. Nobody, Public Works wants to answer the phone. The police department saying it's not an emergency. It has to be the whole block before they come out. Mind you, we had 3 feet of sewer water downstairs, 4 boilers, and 4 hot water tanks. Finally, I get a call about 11:20 from the supervisor. I don't remember what his name was. He's going on to me about overtime. The city is backed up in my basement. I can't work. And you calling me about overtime? Finally, after calling, texting Rashonda, who is my 5th Ward councilwoman, I needed Peter Brown's number. Finally, I got him. He kept trying to get someone for me. He got someone out there. Finally, I got the supervisor, whoever it was, that called me, who wants to argue with me for 20 minutes about overtime, and wanted to speak to my plumber, because the fire department told me I needed to get someone out there to cap that, because in the morning when people get up, take their showers, brush their teeth, use the bathroom, is more going to be in there. After 20 minutes of arguing about overtime, finally I said, well, you can't help me, give me somebody that can help me. About 12:15, we finally got someone out to come, and it was the sewer line, which my plumber did tell him that it was full. We got someone out. It took them 15 minutes to do something, and it was over. I don't know if, I never had a problem with the sewer line. From what I understand is Price Street sewer line is for Elizabeth Avenue and Blanky. That's where the main line is. Why should I have to spend $625 to get a plumber to sit out there with me for hours, to wait for somebody to come out to unclog the city line, and to be told by the fire department and everybody else it's not an emergency? Well, what is considered emergency? And then when I also stated that the fire department said that with the Department of Public Works, he says to me, well, I don't work for them. Well, who are you accountable to? If the fire department can tell you what's wrong, who are you going to believe? You didn't want to believe my plumber, didn't want to believe the fire department, so who do you want to believe? All he's concerned about is what, an hour of overtime? I could have gave him that hour overtime as opposed to this $625 bill. So what do we do? What is considered an emergency? The whole block has to be flooded with sewer? And who do I give this bill to?
Mr. Vergic, has there ever been a problem with the sewers over there?
All the time, because what happened was The two guys that came out said there's always a problem with the street, but it never affected me. So I guess that's why they didn't believe that it was the block.
Have you asked them to camera it? Have you ever put a request in to camera the sewer
Actually,
lines?
that's the third ward. Her business is in the third ward, her residence is in the fifth ward. Mr. Vendetto wants
Would
to
you come to the
respond.
microphone, please?
Situation that existed, as I told you that night. There was a phone lapse. My phone, the phone that I had the city phone that night. Originally when the police department called me twice, I wasn't near my phone. That's my fault. I apologize for that. I got a third call from Peter who explained that there was a situation, and I told him that unless it's a street problem, and the police department acted correctly. And I appreciate that, because if it's a single residence, we close at 3:30, okay? That's our hours of operation, or 7 to 6:30 or 7 to 3, or, you know. We'll go a little later if we need be. At night, if it's a residence, if it's a single residence, okay, and they have a backup in there, we will not bring anyone in. That would be up to the responsibility for a plumber, because we don't bring people in. Usually those situations will wait till the next day. We'll say, I'm sorry, we have no one in. If it's in the street, like I told you, I said if it's a street problem, and we weren't clear on that, and that's why I asked to speak to... Your plumber had said that it was in the catch basin at first, and that's why I said, if you pop the cap... And yes, we did go back and forth for a while. I had to make sure that I was going to bring people in for a problem that I needed to know if you had a plumber there was a street problem. Okay? On Stiles Street, we have a lot of problems on Stiles because of a lot of the businesses on Wood Avenue, and there's also businesses on Price Street that run down there. They just replaced all that work in there too. So we actually replaced about 75 to 100 feet down the street. So I'm very well versed in that particular block. So once I was able to ascertain that it was indeed in the street from your plumber, okay, that's when I called the crew in, and I woke them all up, and it took them a little while to get there. And yeah, with the street, well, it took them a while to get there. Well, I understand, but that's what I have to be accountable for. Well, I had to make sure, okay. We do, that's it, yeah. Right. What we used to have is a gentleman who would go and check all the grease traps. Okay, we're in the process of trying to approach the Board of Health. We lost a lot of people through attrition. We also have 3 supervisors who are out for a great extended period of time. We're very short-staffed. Okay? And when it came to being able to have someone to go and speak routinely and often into all the businesses, particularly the ones that do cooking, and make sure they're monitoring their grease traps, sometimes we have a language barrier. We don't have anybody to do that anymore. So that we realize that that's a difficult, I wouldn't call it a luxury, but we don't have anyone to do it. It wasn't a luxury then. We don't have that person now. So unfortunately, by the time it gets from Wood Avenue to your block, to your part of the block, it's going to congeal and it's going to become like a rock. But if it was, I need to know, because you have a multifamily house, which sounds worse in your point of view, but sure, but there's 4 times the possibility that there's a block in the leader there, in the lateral. So that is something that I need to, so when you said you had a plumber, when you said the fire department was there, I initially said that the fire department, they won't clear sewer water. They evidently at some point came to the realization that they'll only pump clear water. That being said, I believe, when they realized it. They stopped the plumbing because they didn't want to get it clogged. Well, yeah, then they come to the realization they could do no more. So in that case, I'm sure. Well, that was what I need. By the time the call came to me and I spoke to your plumber, I needed to be completely sure I was going to send anybody in for that.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Councilwoman has a question.
Excuse me.
Well, we've had,
Laura,
and I told them.
Let me ask the question.
I'm sorry, I was on the
Was it the city line ultimately that was the problem?
It was ultimately. That's why when we brought the guys in, I needed to ascertain that from the plumber who was on site.
What is this woman's recourse?
What do you mean?
This is a business.
Well, I think I might have told you she might be able to appeal that.
When I said to you, when you thought it was a business, you said to me, "Oh, this is business."
It's a.
You said you couldn't
I'm sorry, that's not exactly the way it went, but what I did say was if you have a business there, and you have more than one sewer lateral, if they're all cut, they all go to one line into the out to the street, so you have that many times the probability it's a clog in the house. When I spoke to the plumber who understood what it was, ma'am, we don't have anyone for a single house. And like I know, but I also told you that if we had more, the police department won't call unless they get more than one person on that line. They know then that it's a street, so they only got your call, I'm sorry. We got no one else called to complain about it, so the police department did their job. Well, we could, we're open from 7 till 3. I understand that, so are we, that's what we do, I'm sorry. We don't have the ability to pay, and after that, it's overtime, and I'm sorry, that's just... Well, I did mention you may be able to appeal that, because it was a street, I'm sorry, I do remember telling you. I understand that, I apologize for not being able to get back to you right away, but I did say that you could appeal that, okay? You might have... No, I remember saying, I'm sorry that you don't remember.
Could you assist her with the information as far as appealing it? Could you assist her with the information as far as appealing
Yeah,
it?
matter of fact, I'm going to have to talk to engineering, I think.
On the side.
Engineering and health department.
Would you give her a hand with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Thank you.
It's not as simple as that.
Lord, get his card so he can help you with the appeal.
Pat Hero, please.
My name is Pat Hero. Before I start any of my comments, I would ask the members of the governing body, the mayor, and whoever else may want to comment to wait until my time is over with. Thank you very much. I live on wonderful Wheat
Ms. Hero, for your edification, what I do is I stop the clock when they speak, so you don't lose any time.
Okay, thank you. I live on wonderful Wheatsheaf Road, which is truly a great street with great neighbors. Some of the finest neighbors in the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, on August 23rd, gunshots, the morning of August 23rd, I believe, gunshots invaded our community. Fortunately, the person was not killed, but they were injured. And I immediately called my councilman, Councilman Colibus. To Councilman Colibus's credit, he did say he didn't get the message. By the way, he's the only one tonight to allow that excuse. You'll understand why in a moment. But he said he didn't get my message, and I believe that he didn't because it went from one tape to another, so I can understand him didn't get a message. But I called him up and said, look, we should have a meeting. I mean, after all, we had some problems in the ward, so we wanted a meeting. But anyway, we didn't get a meeting. He didn't get my message. I didn't know he didn't get my message. But I was excited because I found out Mrs. Cosby Hurling, Councilwoman Cosby Hurling, was going to have a meeting. And it was going to be at the JTG Center. So I was really excited about this because I wanted to go. And I know the police can't talk about ongoing investigations, but they can talk about other stuff like maybe how we can identify things that are going on or suspicious activity in the neighborhood, whatever. It just would be helpful to get together and find out. But then that meeting was canceled. Then I understand it was moved to John Street. Now, John Street's a little bit challenging for me because I am vehicularly challenged, lacking a motor vehicle. But still, at least a meeting would be going on, but then that got canceled too. I've learned since then that I think this week they had a community meeting, but I didn't know about that one. But still, around the time that there were these shootings going on, it would have been very helpful to have gone to a meeting, and I would have appreciated it. Now, maybe Councilman Pichelle returned a phone call from Joanne, but he sure didn't return my phone call. I know because I called him up 2 weeks ago. I guess I'm just not important because I don't live in his ward and I can't vote for him. So I guess I'm just not that important, and I'm sad about that because I normally don't call up a council person unless I think it's important and I want some information. We'll talk about this after the meeting. Now anyway, as I once heard it said, all means all. That's all means. And from what I have on this flyer, it says, all residents will be required to bag all leaves and place the bags at the curb for collection. So I think that means all and all. All residents bag all leaves. Now, let me say that today I stand in solidarity with the residents of the 10th Ward who want the freedom to bag or not to bag. And it seems Councilman Pichel is backpedaling on this issue because maybe he got a little bit too much heat. Well, if you can't stand the heat, maybe get off of the council. You are subjecting the residents of the ward to mandatory bagging, as that memo said. How about seniors and disabled? Yes, it's very nice that the Boy Scouts, which is a marvelous organization, is coming in to help. But still, this is trying to force government mandates on residents who did not have the opportunity before then to say whether or not they chose to bag their own leaves. What about freedom? Let's show the other residents that can be done. Let's show the members of the governing body that the people have a voice and that the people deserve to be heard in this country. So, and Mr. Pichel, you said you don't play politics. It seems to me this evening you've been playing politics under the guise of giving a councilman's report. Now, let me address Mr. Brown. Councilman Brown, I know he's going to hear about this one. I heard about what happened at the last council meeting between you and Councilman Armstead, and I read the story in the local source about you and Councilman Sheehy. My fellow alum, Joseph Welch, said it many years ago, and I can say it no better. You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency? I guess you think it's okay to go around and look to get other council people in trouble without going to those council people first and asking them what's going on before you go run to the policeman. Oh, so-and-so's doing illegal dumping. My God, what is this? It sounds like elementary school, tattling on the teacher. I mean, is this the way to run a governing body? Plus, you have to work with these members of the governing body. And it seems to me, back in the day, there was a show I used to love called The Gong Show. And they had, an unknown comic on the show. Well, it seems to me, Councilman Brown, that you are the unknown councilman. Because while most people have biographies, like you see for Councilman Armstead here, and I could demonstrate for all the other ones, you have nothing. You don't have an address listed. All you have is an email and a phone number. What do we know about you, Mr. Brown? I think I'd like to learn a lot more about you before you start ratting out your other council people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Henry Reddick.
May I give you with all due respect, I'd like to renew and continue my humble apology that I was on the wrong page. After a review of the one that I had concerns with, I respectfully decline to go from there. Thank you, all people.
Lisa Oma.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, and Town Council. My name is Lisa Ann Ormond. I live at 901 Summit Street. And I'm here to pretty much address Chief Sal Bavona and Fire Chief Joseph Rizzo, or the whole entire EMS team. I know you're not him or the EMS team. Pretty much pertaining to my children and the hundreds of other children that are like them. I'm the mother of 2 autistic children, one who's relatively high functioning and the other one is not as high functioning. Last week we had an episode at my house with me leaving my son, and he pretty much had a meltdown, which is very typical of autistic children. I was concerned because my parents weren't able to control him at the moment, and they had to call 911. I was on my way to an interview. I had to turn back around and pretty much, come to their rescue. Thank God I had wonderful neighbors, Kyle Smith and Michael Verdier, who also came to help my parents out with this particular meltdown. The police responded, and I was very pleased with the way they responded. They had a very gentle approach, and my sister did have to kind of like tell them, please, no sirens, as they were approaching, because sirens will pretty much disturb autistic children. So my question is to the first responders. Are your employees trained on how to handle autistic children? Just to let you know some alarming statistics, 1 in 150 children are diagnosed with autism. In New Jersey, it's closer to 1 in 99, which means that 1% of our population will be autistic. And these autistic children will eventually become autistic adults. Now, I'm asking about some of the training because they're different than just your disabled children that have learning disabilities. There's something that's called stemming. And stemming can be anything from jumping, flapping of the hands, rolling on the floor, anything that is just not neurotypical. Sometimes stemming in these children are considered to be threatening. And I would be just extremely upset if something was to happen to a child or a young adult because our first responders don't understand the typical behaviors that autistic children have. One of the things that I would like to see happen in the city of Linden, and please let me know if it's possible, is to do something that I call Code Blue. Now, we all light up blue in the month of April for Autism Awareness Month, but I wanted to know whether or not the households of autistic children and young adults can be identified with our first responders, maybe with a special coding when a phone call is made from that house. That's very important because besides the stemming, these children have expressive and receptive language problems. For instance, if my daughter was to call 911 and a responder would say, 911, what's your emergency? My daughter might not process that clearly and may not be able to get out of her mouth, my mommy fell and hurt herself, or somebody's breaking into my house. But if our telephone number is indicated in a system that turns blue or whatever color, the 911 responder can say, wow, I know this is the Ormond household. I must be speaking with Kira or Chase. And maybe they can be trained to say, instead of what's your emergency, first say, hi, is this Kira? Kira, where is your mom? Where is your dad? Or how can I help you? As opposed to the traditional, what's your emergency? Once again, it can be very, very intimidating for an autistic child who is in a situation where they just are confused or, dazzled. They just may not be able to respond correctly, and that time is critical. So I wanted to know if I can get together with the 3 supervisors of our first responders and work on something, and possibly even get the parents of autistic children to speak with you also. Have it maybe a 2-way training. Have your people trained. Let us talk to you. It works with our children, because all of our children are different. And then even taking it a step further, having our children get acclimated to your staff. We had fire prevention day a couple weeks ago in Linden. My son saw the fire truck and just totally, got afraid, and he just wanted to go sit in the car. Well, that's a concern, because if my house ever caught fire, I would want my son to know that the fire department helps. They're here to help him, and that he shouldn't run. But the only way that he's going to know this is if he's allowed to become a little bit more familiar. And once again, even expanding to open your doors to families who have children with autism and maybe even other disabilities to come down, meet your staff, get familiar with your vehicles, and just get a little bit more comfortable with these processes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. President,
Wait.
could I just answer her for a minute?
Go ahead.
Mrs. Orman, we spoke a couple of weeks ago at
Yes,
fire
we did.
prevention, and as I explained to you there is an awareness class that all our first responders take for autism. Earlier in the evening, Councilman Purcell presented me with another young lady from the 10th Ward who's also interested in additional programs. As I said to you 2 weeks ago, certainly if you want to sit down, I believe I gave you my card that night.
Yes.
Anytime you want to sit down, and we'll be contacting this other individual to discuss any additional programs that might be made available to us for children with autism, certainly we would be interested. So by all means, contact me. You have my information. And other than the awareness class that we presently now take as first responders, any additional expansion of that program, we're certainly available to try to help everybody we can, yourself and this individual in the 10th Ward. So please call me tomorrow. You have my number.
Great, yes. Like I said, when it became an actual reality, when you see your child in that situation, it becomes amazingly real at that point. We think about it all the time, but until you actually see what happens and having to have a 911 first responder at your house, and then see the panic that my parents had also, because they weren't quite sure how the police were going to react being called into the situation. So I appreciate any time and anything that we can do. I'm an advocate for autistic children, not only just mine, but all of them. So I would love to, like I said, just meet further.
Mrs. Orman, anything you need from me to assist on this, because this is what I do for a living, that I would be able to help you. Whatever you need, any meeting you need to sit on, I'll be right there with you to help, and then to assimilate all the information we need and all the resources we need to get.
Right. And there's just one other thing, and I would want to thank Councilman Colibus. I have a sign in front of my house that says autistic child in area. And I would really like to see this particular type of sign in all areas where autistic children live. Because what it does, it kind of like alerts the first responders, turn those sirens down because they are a stimulant to the children. And it also alerts just your regular residents, be careful, because these children will also sometimes dart out in the middle of the street if they see a bird or a squirrel that frightens them. But it also
Chief,
alerts.
would you be willing to participate in a meeting?
Yes, definitely, anytime. Just for your own edification, we have Lieutenant Parham and Sergeant Williams, who are trainers for special needs children, and everyone in the county, they're training our staff, along with everyone in the county, along with our dispatchers, how to respond to people with special needs.
Great. Okay, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you. The following council meetings will be as follow. Council conference meeting Monday, November 21st, 2011 at 6 p.m. in the Council Conference Room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting. Tuesday, November 22nd, 2011, 6 p.m. in the Council Conference Room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting November 22nd, 2011 at 7 p.m. in the Council Chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Michelle. Yes. Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
I'll go by tomorrow, right?